Well, been a while.
Sure has.
It do be.
Been a long time. Shouldn't have left you. First song that came into my head.
So I have a full-on recap. I think that's in order, since it has been so long. I imagine lots of things have been forgotten, and things are sort of culminating a little bit. So, I'll run through what I have written, and then if anyone's got any questions, things I don't remember, or whatever, we can go over all of that. So, we are, of course, following along the adventures of a number of members of the Seekers of the Jade Oath, an adventuring sort of guild for hire. During many of these recent missions that the organization has undertaken, strange orbs aligned with the plane of chaos were found at the center of some disturbance or other. Each one different. They were dubbed thought cores and discovered to be tools of an organization called the Left Hand of the Serpent. A few members of that group have been encountered directly, including Noya Roussel, Callum Crane, Mapod Kamash, and Yard Trunk Block, the last of which has since joined the Seekers as an ally. The stated goal of the Left Hand, obtained through various means, is to destabilize the Kingdom of Tova, which is the political system in which you are all operating and living. And they have shown recently capable of transporting a small army of undead creatures great distances instantaneously. A series of rituals were performed at Kedwell, which was the headquarters of the Seekers of the Jade Oath, to extract visions from the histories of these orbs that have been recovered. The intelligence gained from this has given you clues into the location from where their next attack may be being staged. So for the first time, the opportunity has arisen to get ahead of the left hand rather than responding to them, and perhaps deal a critical blow to their operation in the process. Was that all sounding familiar?
That's all sounding familiar to me.
Yes.
Where's the part where we cut off someone's hand?
Mm-hmm.
That was the various means part.
I feel like that should be explicitly stated.
Yeah, we do feel an obligation to the community to sort of own up to that part.
Well, it's on you all to deal with that how you will. I did not cut off anyone's hands, so.
I regret nothing. I thought it was funny that we cut the left hand of the dude from the Left Hand organization.
So rude. As someone who's left-handed, I feel very attacked.
Well, they were just so sinister.
Again, still attacked.
And we
That was
still
very
have
good,
the hand
Sokka.
on a pickle jar.
Delph made us do it.
Thank you, Delph. Is it time for the ad read?
Yeah, sure.
Great. This episode of The Seekers of the Jade Oath is brought to you by the Arcane Atlas. Do you have a world full of myth and mystery, of action and adventure, of joy and jubilance? Has your dungeon master poured not only many hours, but their heart and soul into building a world for you and your friends to explore and play together? And you're looking for a way to say thank you? Well, look no further than the Arcane Atlas. The Arcane Atlas is your go-to for fantastical cartography. We here at the Seekers of the Jade Oath have been running through the Kingdom of Tova on the continent of Dolorast for more than 4 years. And as we begin to turn the tide in the left hand of the Serpent's plans, we found ourselves thinking, wow, this game has been so wonderful. I love this world and its characters. And so we found our fantastical cartographer and poured all of the knowledge we have about this world into a map of it. Physical manifestation of the work Dalf has done to build us a place where an elf named after a Korean sedan can cast world-altering spells. So Dalf, I would invite you to begin opening the mysterious package that you received earlier today in the order that was told to you to open it in.
Oh my
And I'm going to
goodness.
send you some stuff for you to be able to put on stream.
It's a bomb!
If you're interested in commissioning your own fantastical map, you can head to arcaneatlas.carrd.co if you're interested in commissioning your own.
Oh my god. Sorry, I realized I should narrate for the chat.
Narrate.
So I was hand-delivered a package today by one of our lovely party members. And I've opened up an envelope. In it contains a beautifully printed copy of the Jade Oath, the complete text to which was only very recently in game time revealed to the players, although or the characters rather. To the players it was fucking last year. As aforementioned, it was May. Wow, signed and everything.
Yeah, we all signed the Jade Oath with our in-character signatures, which all of us had ready to go.
I remember what I did the first time. You guys are slacking.
Yes, we both all equally prepared. Signatures.
All equally.
All of
Everyone
us.
the same.
Everyone
Everyone.
has a beautiful signature there.
No one here ran out of time. Not one.
Everyone
hill still there?
prioritized it like they should have and said they would.
Okay.
Wait, Rob, yours is sick.
Wait, I
That's
didn't saw
because
it
my
doing all-
handwriting is shit, and because of Aaron's background, I think he has good handwriting, so I generated his. Because I cannot have good handwriting. I try, and it's bad.
Wait, where is it, everyone's? I didn't look at it.
But I think a librarian background rogue should have good handwriting. So
It's in the secret
Oh,
group
yeah.
chat. Let me just forward that to.
Secret group
I can't believe there's a
People who
fucking
weren't-
secret group chat.
months, Dalf, months.
Months.
Hey, Dolph, remember how I've told you repeatedly over the last few months how I couldn't be a good DM because I'm so bad at keeping secrets? That was the pressure release valve on keeping this secret.
Wow.
And now it's crazy. It was Sock, and then Sock was looping in people throughout the months. So Sock been saving that for like, I don't know, half a year?
Yeah,
Okay.
close to it.
That should be visible on stream as well, since I showed it to everyone in Roll20. I don't know how to make it bigger.
Yeah.
Very lovely. All right, I'm gonna get to opening the big one now. Though I have an idea at this point.
Let's say, don't look at the chat.
Yo, Avec Stomp looks sick. the name in parentheses.
That was the big thing I strove for with my in-character signatures. I want you to be able to tell it says Hyundai Elantra, but it still looks like someone actually writing their name.
You should have made the age on the same way that Hyundai H is.
That would have been funny.
That would have been hella funny.
Dalf, by the way, if you click on the map on stream, it will like sort of full screen itself to your browser.
Thank you.
So yeah, I sent this poor artist an email with every settlement that you have listed on World Anvil, along with a sentence or two describing them, and every major geographical feature. And I sent that to them, and then they said, "Are there any rivers?" And I said, "We haven't talked about a river once, except for an underground one. So just put them where you feel like."
And I have to say, Dolores kinda looks like South America. Or maybe Australia, but pointing up.
Is Australia?
Pointy reverse Australia, yes.
So, chat, I have just unwrapped a printed, framed version of the map that you now see, which looks fucking incredible. Thank you all so much. Devilish to do this before we run.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did brought up the possibility that we did that and then we all die. And it'll be hella funny.
But also, you're welcome.
So I really enjoyed working with this artist. My favorite thing is that a couple weeks before I got the finished map back, she emailed me and just said, "Quick question. How large is the crater that surrounds the crystalline spire and Kaymore? Is it large enough to be worth illustrating on the map?" And then I had to be like, "Well, I can't ask Dalf." So I went to World Anvil and I was just like reading the history of Dolorast, like crystalline spire, crater, and then I was just like, "Yeah, sure."
Wait! Zoom in at the city the Seekers are.
I don't know
I
that
can't
you can do
zoom
that in
in
Roll20.
this. No.
Okay. Look at it very close in front of you.
Yes. So we added a little. You describe that as you sign a contract with the Seekers, that a jade in color rune appears on the back of the hand. But in my listening to a few old sessions and looking on World Anvil, I couldn't find a description of the rune. And so Taff from the Arcane Atlas just made one, and we put it directly north of Cadwell, which is, of course, for those who don't know, the headquarters of the Seekers of the Jade Oath. And in those runes, you can see that they kind of combined a J and an S in the swirl and the squiggle.
Yes.
Very, very cool.
You're gonna cry. Send us a video.
I almost was like, I wonder if there's a way I could talk Dalf into getting a webcam before this session.
No, I don't think there would have been.
Yeah, it would have given away the game.
Truly, this is incredible, though.
So is this game you made for us.
True.
And Delph, it's from all of us here on the call tonight. So
yeah,
everyone it was a group effort. So know that we all.
Well, thank you all very, very much.
And so don't kill us.
Or
doesn't work that way.
Look, I read your notes, and there's the page that says rocks fall and they all die, and we know you're just gonna tear that page out of the notebook, okay?
Yeah.
It'll be very fucking funny if you all die.
All right. We got to get rolling.
I got PCs to kill. Come on, gang.
So, some boring business up top. I guess partially it's just like reminders for most of you, but I also do need decisions from two of you. Or I just need a reminder for myself of the decision that you made probably a long time ago. Let me show this on stream actually. Boop, boop. No? Okay. Bing. Okay, so after your first complete mission with the Seekers, you're supposed to select a specialization, which usually just gives you minor bonuses to things. There's a couple of options listed there on the Secrets of the Jade Oath organization page near the bottom. There's a little expand out thing for specializations. That's old stuff. I have information for that for everyone except for Aram and Elish. Aram, I'm sure you have one. I just didn't write it down.
Can you scroll through them real quick? Because I just left the page. Or I'll go back to the page. I know I picked one. Give me a second. Let me look at the link.
I picked one.
I guess for everyone else, if you don't remember, I have Hunter for Zell, Envoy for Yvette, Plainsmaster for Elantra, and Flesher.
I remember. I don't remember enchantments.
Wait,
I bet I did Plainsmaster. I did either Plainsmaster or Chronicler. Let me check.
I thought it was one of those two as well, but I wasn't sure which, so I didn't want to write it down.
Those two definitely align with Aram, but which one of them did I pick?
What did you have Gabby as doing?
Flesher.
Flesher, like flesh?
Flesher, yes.
Interesting. Okay.
Like meat.
Doesn't ring a bell, but as we know,
It's
I
hard to know.
Like it.
I don't
like it at all.
Not like
Yeah, I feel uncomfortable with past decisions.
It gives you bonuses to harvesting resources from dead creatures, so it was probably a cooking angle that you were going for.
Yeah, that tracks.
Those meat pies became way more Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I've really dulled on like eating creatures as much.
I'm overlooking the section where these are listed on the link. What you said was at the bottom.
There's a little black button that says specializations.
The heading that's under is Seeker Boons.
Is this in World Anvil?
Yes.
Uh,
And it's all the way at the bottom of the Seekers of the Jade Oath page.
I'm searching
many
for boons,
pages.
it's not highlighted.
I can link you the block specifically as well.
Okay, thank you.
Dalf, I am looking, and I feel like I picked one of these for my Magus, and one of them for Aram, and we'll get back to you on which was which.
Well, I can tell you what you picked for Sirius.
What did Sirius take?
Chronicler.
Okay.
So it would make sense to me that you had Plainsmaster for
I
Aram.
probably picked Plainsmaster for Aram. They both fit really well, but I probably picked Plainsmaster.
Okay.
Because I probably didn't want to do the same one.
Yeah.
You know, I just realized you posted about enchantments, and I thought that was these. So does that mean?
Well, that's the next order of
Enchantments.
business, was just
Yeah.
reminder to everyone about the enchantments thing, which doesn't require any decision making on your part right now, with the exception of you get a one-time ability score increase of 1 to one of your choice, which most of you have done already. I think Zell, you probably have not, because I didn't remind you.
Yes. I asked if I did everything.
Yeah, and I forgot about it at the time, and then remembered today, and figured I'd just do everyone all at once in the call, because I wanted to go over the details of this again, anyways. So I believe it should be covered for Elantra, Yvette. It looked like it was incorporated into your sheet, Gabitha, when I was going over yours. I assume that it's also in. Well, actually, I don't know if it's in on your sheet in Roll20, Aram, but you told me what you were doing, and it wasn't going to change
It's not
anything
in Roll20,
mathematically.
and I
So.
picked the one that does not change all of my
Yeah.
skill points. So it
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
super
probably
matter.
why I didn't bother to do it in roll 20 because it wasn't going to
Yeah.
change anything right now.
I wasn't gonna do that to you like the day before. Be like, hey, by the way, I have a bunch more skills now.
So apart from that,
I have 13 unspent skill points.
do you?
Yeah.
I didn't. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't go over your character sheet because I was in the call
were in
while you were
voice
doing
chat.
it. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
assumed we
that
had
makes
covered
sense.
everything.
I'll just do that. We can keep going.
So the enchantments are a thing that you are able to do now. This was a boon given to everyone after meeting the. I'm gonna gloss over what was a giant lore dump in the most recent tavern talk, but
Sorry.
the entity that is at the heart of the Seekers of the Jade Oath organization, the sort of secret mastermind, powerful creature thing, gave this to you basically as your like upgrade to senior members sort of situation, and so you can call on this power a number of times per contract, equal to your specialization bonus, which for it's 1/3 of your character level. So for y'all, it's going to be 2 or 3. 1/3 of your character level rounded up. Actually, it might be 3 for everyone except for Ivet, and then 4 for Ivet, because that's how math works.
Wait, what was me?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
And so basically you can just like spend one of those points and do one of these things. So you can like gain fast healing, which is you heal that number of HP per round. Gain resistance to chaos or law. Move yourself in a straight line as a reaction. Become invisible, but you can't move or attack or cast a spell. Or apply one of 6 metamagic feats without expending the higher level spell slot.
Yeah, baby.
So pretty good, but most of them are pretty situational as well. So keep it in the back of the old noggin. I've made the game more complicated for you.
Yeah, I do have to have about 8 tabs open to monitor everything about my character in order to play this game.
Good.
This is one of the times when having 3 monitors is actually useful.
A shoot with gun.
So that's all the business.
Excellent.
I've updated my sheet. Nothing changes.
Okay, so I guess before we proceed any further, are there any questions or things that I didn't go over in terms of like recap that people want more info about or anything like that? I know it's been a while.
What are hero points again?
So we start every adventure with 1 shared hero point for the team. Some individuals may have personal hero points. And you can get them from a couple of different things. Basically, my discretion if you get one.
Do I still have mine?
So, like, say a party of people sent a gift to somebody.
I
It was,
will
like,
not
really
be
thoughtful.
swayed.
And it was like really sensitive and sweet, impactful.
What if they wrote a whole ad read bit?
What if they hand designed like the card and the Jade Oath personally?
They might survive.
We'll talk about maybe some bonus outside of the scope of this adventure, but for this adventure, you're not getting anything special.
What about like give each of us a free potion or something? You know, I'm just saying. Look, you got to give some to get some kind of thing.
What if someone remembered that the first time he signed the Jade Oath, he just put his thumb on the thing, and then he did a callback for the thumb in the thing.
What if that person also sent us reference drawings of how to draw kobold hands to figure out how to draw their thumbprint?
And we also send a reference of like reptiles, like.
We're just asking hypothetically, Alf. We're asking hypothetically.
Yeah.
Dalf, since you will not be swayed. No,
yeah, I will not be swayed. I will cry about that later. And for now, we will continue as planned.
Can I share that I really do mean that when I changed Gabitha, she did have her birthday last month. And so she did have a birthday party. And all of you can decide if you came or not. But it was a blowout event, and she's very excited. And Gabitha now has a shiny new whisk as her birthday present to herself. It's bedazzled.
Shit.
And made of adamantine. Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow,
So.
a masterwork adamantine whisk. What a perfect 79th birthday gift.
It's true.
Yeah, that's the traditional gift for 79 is an adamantine kitchen utensil.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Well, 78 was only an apron made out of leather.
Non-reactive metal, right? You don't want it to do anything.
Yeah, of course.
So if any of you went, just know that whoever went received, each person got a dozen cookies because Gabitha made like thousands of cookies.
Yo, cookies.
So, and her goodie bags, because I was like, what would she have put? And I was like, it's probably it's probably just she put her face on like sugar cookies.
That rules.
And gave out baggies of them.
So hard.
Okay. Then you've all been gathered quite hastily outside of Kedwell, just sort of without much time to plan ahead of this. The rituals happened over a 4-day period. It was one ritual per day, just fucking back to back to back. And this information was all put together, and it's just kind of like 2 days later, a team was gathered up, and you're ready to go. So, you all have gathered outside. It is a not rainy day. It's like drizzling. It's a drizzly morning, so it's not like super uncomfortable. Maybe more of a misting. Not super uncomfortable to be outside. But if you're out there for a while, you're gonna get wet. And you have some time to discuss your plan of attack. You need to get to Bluffburn, which is on the opposite coast.
You shot on the map?
Sure. I don't think I can ping on the map, but it's all the way over on the west coast. Pretty much a dead shot. Straight west. Pretty close.
Wow, there it is, just south of left here, right on the opening of that little slough.
Good word. So you don't know what your time frame is. That's sort of the crucial decision point here. You know that this attack that they're going to, or that you think they're going to unleash, has not started yet. So plus there. And there was some scrying that happened to sort of narrow you in on all this information. But at no point during that scrying did they pull up their fucking schedule, right? So you don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow or in a week or something, but it looked like they were, wrapping up preparations.
This was the... Oh, go for it.
Your question will will help my question almost assuredly.
Was this the same town that we scouted out before and didn't see anything going on?
No. You scouted out a town you thought they were going to attack and told basically the leadership of that town that, hey, if anything happens, come tell us. And then something happened. They were attacked and they came and told you. So you were able to, you didn't get there in time to really help, but you were able to do a little brief investigation and get some information out of that. This town you have not been to, although some of you have been to Ulethtir, the city that is due north. I believe it's just
finance branch in Bluffburn.
There is not a celestial finance in Bluffburn. There is a celestial finance in Ulethtir, which would be the closest one. And there's also a branch in Unwood and a branch in Wainsmouth, which are much farther away. A sort of a tiny mini refresher on Ulethtir. That was where y'all first met Noya Roussel, who was re-encountered at the manor party more recently. She was also revealed to be head honcho of sorts at the left hand of the Serpent. But at the time, you knew her as the, sort of like museum manager for a big museum in Ulethtir. She came to the manor on the arm of the leader of Ulethtir.
So,
Let's go kill
Ulethtir
him.
maybe not a safe place to go. Or one where if we show up, they would likely at least know we're coming.
What were the circumstances that we found out she was associated to the left hand again?
That was one of the reveals from the orbs.
So it's not. Does she know that we know?
As far as you all know, the information that you have obtained from those orbs, they do not know you have. So that's sort of the birth of this advantage that you have. Is as far as you're aware, they don't know that you know this stuff.
Are we just supposed to get on a horse and start riding?
What time of day is it?
It's morning right now.
So we got plenty of time. Okay.
A trip by horse will take, give or take, 4 days. Unless you really push them.
From, say, Wainsmouth to Bluffburn take.
That you'll have to give me a second for.
He's pulling out the map.
I am.
I'm the map. I'm the map.
Yeah, so Wainsmouth is definitely your second closest situation, next to Ulethtir. That is probably 1 day.
Okay.
Just eyeballing it.
On horse? Sorry.
Yeah. So that you'd be following the coastline northwest. Unwood is to the northeast of Ulethtir, so you'd kind of be riding past Ulethtir, and it's a little bit further. It's maybe a half day further.
What is the distance to left here?
You mean between Bluffburn and New Left Tier? Or between
Yes.
Kedwell and New Left?
Yeah.
It Bluffburn is like right outside of Left Tier. You can see it from the walls, basically.
So that would clearly be the quickest.
Yeah, by far that's your fastest option.
But they might know we're coming because they have involvement with city government in the Left Tier.
It's a possibility.
Does it cost something to get to take the Celestial Finance?
Sure does.
So I have 4 gold. Just as a consideration as well.
It's not a lot of gold. Okay.
Wait,
No.
but we're only a day away from one of them. So like, what's
Yeah. So
like-
the trip
we
to
still have to
Wayne,
take the portal. for
Celestial
that.
Finance to Waynesmith, and then horses 1 day's ride northwest to get to Bluffburn would be the fastest.
Yeah, that's your second fastest option, yes.
Sorry, the second fastest. A left tier and then less than a day's march to get to Bluffburn would be the fastest.
The only
risk detection.
The only option that doesn't require Celestial Finance transport is just like taking horses.
4-day horse ride.
From Kedwell.
I'm pretty good on gold.
I vote Waynesmith and North rather than go through a left here because I think our big benefit right now is that we have the element of surprise. And I don't want to risk that.
Damn, I did write down how far the ride is from Waynesmith. I just wrote it in a place I didn't think it was
How much
be.
does it cost? Well, I guess it's not going to change the loot tier, but how much is the Celestial?
Celestial Finance transport costs 100 gold pieces flat plus 25 per person.
Well, that's not that bad.
So you're looking at 250 for the group?
And Gabitha rides free, right?
No.
I'm pretty sure you said seniors ride.
Yeah, seniors ride free.
And also it was her birthday. So she got like a coupon in the mail or something.
Unfortunately for you, Celestial Finance is a religious banking institution who believes that they should seek profits above basically anything else. So,
How tall is Gabitha?
Shortish, 5'4", 5'1". She's 5'1".
What if we put Ivette on top of Gabitha's shoulder and then a huge trench coat?
Yeah, that's one person.
Yeah, that's one person.
you can attempt that.
Yes.
If you want to pass as a Dragonborn instead of a kobold, go for it.
Yep.
Just so excited.
I mean, now we have to.
All right, team.
Now you-
everyone
That's
grab your
extremely
partner.
funny. So,
We're gonna
Everyone
die
grab a
before you get out
body.
of town.
We'll just put some gold in, right? And like let them.
so is that the plan? Transport to Waynesmith and then horse ride up from there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
I suggested it, which means I agree.
Didn't change your mind in the last 5 minutes?
Nope.
Good.
Well, I didn't have a plan, but Elantra had, so that plan's better than no plan.
Dolph, how expensive are potions again? Like health potions? I don't remember. Like light wounds and stuff.
Cure Light Wounds is 50 gold pieces. Moderate, I think, is 200. They go up real fast.
Okay.
300 actually for a moderate.
Jesus!
Oh, hey, I have
Yeah.
less gold now, guys.
Yeah, there goes my gold. For a lot of
Fucking
it.
inflation,
Okay.
dude!
What happened to my?
750 for Sirius, if I'm not incorrect.
What, 750 for serious? What about 750? Does he owe money?
No. Cure Serious Wounds is the next step up.
Okay. I was like, no, hold on a minute.
Yeah, your
Can't charge
other
money on
character
a
is
character
actually
not
in
playing.
debt.
Guys, if we ever get to a point that we need a cure serious wounds potion, we're all just gonna have to accept that that person died.
Okay. Then the bunch of you head down to Arrow's Edge, your town that's like right down the hill from Kedwell, to a Celestial Finance branch that you have visited many times.
The more likely for our 2 people in a trench coat idea to work, the more we visited it and they've seen us.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Because Yvette has been through maybe more than anyone else.
Anyone have a pair of glasses?
Yvette, did you have like disguise self?
So yeah, is there a talk me through this disguise situation? Are you just getting up on Gabitha's shoulders and throwing a big coat over and calling it a day, or is there a little bit more to it?
I for sure have a hat.
I love the idea. Oh, wait, can I Welby, can I pitch something to you?
Sure.
Yvette is in a wig and has a big wide brim like Southern Belle hat and lipstick on.
Oddly specific.
Yeah, that feels planned. I feel like the whole thing is like if you have one large accessory, it takes people's attention away. So like you need to have like the really big hat or a giant necklace, and they won't notice that they know you really well.
Why doesn't Gabitha get on Welby's shoulders?
You know, I thought about that. You certainly could go under Gabitha's skirts. Like she has like 1,000 petticoats, and you could just probably hide under her apron.
The thing is, Yvette has 6 strength.
Yeah, I was gonna say not to speak anything in particular about Gabitha's weight, but Yvette is a very lithe boy.
I literally, when I leveled her up, I also added weight. Like I was like, she's
Nice.
at her party. Like she's, yeah. I think Yvette has to go on.
I don't think there's anyone that I can carry.
No. That's fine. We've got this. We're so charming.
Yeah. It's
Okay, so are we going with just the big hat, or is it
more sense to have Gabitha as the talking head because Gabitha has more charisma? Yes, but
well, you know, hopefully you don't have to do any talking more than your wallet.
Yeah. So it's the cold and then a really big hat.
We're talking Kentucky Derby here.
Oh yeah. Like the biggest hat Gabitha can possibly have.
I feel like I already have hats. Like so you're fine. Like I've got aprons. Okay. We could make a little kerchief around you.
I think the big hat is going to do you a lot of favors. Going to cover up, you know, eyes and distinctive head features and things like that. So that's good. Also, the height is going to help a lot. I do think someone growing 5 feet taller is going to make it harder for someone to recognize you.
Yeah. For sure.
So as you all enter the Celestial Finance branch, you notice that the person at the desk is not someone you recognize. They appear to be new.
Amazing.
Or at least new to most of you. I bet this person was here. They weren't working at the desk, but they were here last time you came through.
When was last time?
Bro, I don't remember. I could figure it out, but I don't remember.
Nah, it's not that important. I just wanted to know for flavor. It's okay.
Actually, it's very easy to figure out. It was for... Oh, actually, it's not that. I don't remember if you took it for the swamp adventure. You did not for the manor adventure. You did not for the Colossus, which means it might have been Devastation at the Deposit was the last one.
Oh,
In terms of
took it
adventures, but you might have done it on your personal time as well.
We took it for the Colossus on the way back. I remember that. Because we wanted to get back real fast because they were
True.
attacking.
I remember you using it for going and buying something or doing something at some point.
Oh, true! What was it? I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, there's always opportunity for it to have happened on your personal time.
Yeah, sure. If you said it happened, it happened, dude.
So I am going to need a bluff check from you, but it's not going to be that hard. You being Yvette in this case.
Don't you feel like I should be able to like help too? Like, I mean, it's my body, like that you're seeing the body language,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I do think you are a component of this, so we'll let you, do a standard help, which means you're also going to roll a bluff. You just need to beat a 10, and if you do, you'll give a +2 to Yvette's check on this.
Here's the thing. I have a suggestion. It's almost like if anyone else does the talking, do I need to lie?
No, this is assuming you're just walking in and being accepted as a normal person and not as a kobold standing on someone's shoulders. This is just selling the look.
So it's about me maintaining my balance on Gavatha's shoulder?
That's a not insignificant component of it for sure.
Which it could mean it can be an acrobatics and not a bluff check?
Okay.
Because it's much higher. My stats are much better.
But I can roll bluff, right? I don't have.
Yes, you can still roll bluff.
All right. I want Welby to go first. Okay.
Oh my Jesus!
That's
why
really
my
good.
dice is laggy.
So do I have to go?
Yeah, you don't know what the DC is. He might not have beaten it.
All right, there we go.
Okay, so the total is 21.
Perfect.
They don't seem to be giving you any weird looks which would reveal that your ruse has been discovered. So the 5 of you move through this celestial finance. There's a brief waiting period while someone else is, or some other business is being conducted back in the teleporter room before they move you through. Their usual business of setting things up is carried out. They collect the payment, and a portal opens, and you step through one by one.
Thank God, Gavatha didn't sneeze. I was so ready for someone to talk to me, and I do like a deep voice. Or a very high one.
I was gonna say you do have a lady's gown and hat on.
Gender is a construct.
I'm a normal woman.
Yes, because that's exactly how Gabatha sounds.
So you emerge.
How much money do they use on that thing?
It's 250 gold pieces. It needs to. I mean, it doesn't need to come from any particular distribution. Oh yeah, sorry, 225. Yes. You saved 25 golds from this.
Nice. Let's go.
So we'll work out amongst yourselves who's paying for what part of that.
I mean, I'm all in at 4 gold pieces.
Chunk of it is
so that's over here using the portal left and right for personal things, but as soon as we have to, critical situation, now's the time.
All of a sudden, we're stingy with our wallet.
I'm going on the tunnel.
I mean, I'll split the cost with everybody else who's putting money into it.
Gavin's just
anyone that needs it?
I
No,
can
did-
split the cost
Did
too.
Gabitha already spend all of the money she got for her birthday?
I think Gabitha's well and truly at 0 gold pieces. And Elantra's at 4,
She made
so
thousands of cookies. Do you know how like expensive chocolate is?
So expensive. Look, Gab,
Okay, I got those
I
two
write an
covered
IOU
in
to
mine.
all of you.
I can divide that with you.
I've already
with
I've
you.
already subtracted my money.
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. I owe all of you.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Hey, just for that, you get extra buff spells today.
So you emerge from the other side in the Celestial Finance branch in Waynesmith. It is a not particularly embellished branch compared to some of the others that you've been to, but it's quite open. You can hear seagulls. There's some warmth from the sun. It's the rainy season, but it hasn't seemed to hit over here yet. It still feels a bit summery. This is a medium to large port town, and that is obvious to you immediately. You know, apart from the seagulls, there's sounds of like big wooden cranes moving things on and off of ships. There's lots of shouting. This branch is pretty close to the coast and all of the docks and things. And of course, a big gust of wind blows the smell of salty air into your noses. And you are free to dismount, I bet, if you would like to.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
He's enjoying
Only
the
if you
view.
want to.
No. My legs are starting to sleep.
Okay.
We should save the coat and the head though, because we need to go back home if we go back home.
Forgot about
So we
that.
need to like find somewhere on the alley to hide it until we get back.
Or a bag. We got this one. We have a bag. Gabitha has Benny bags.
Okay,
She
that works
like
too.
she puts the stuff
Because-
away and she pats you on the head.
I love the idea that that's worldview. It's like I have to stash this in a dumpster that'll be here when I get back.
Incredible.
What else is supposed to do?
Shall we
Just like this.
procure horses? Or did we bring them through with us?
You most certainly did not bring them through with you. They, although Celestial Finance
sure?
may
What
be
if you're all pretending to be centaurs?
Celestial Finance
yeah,
may be open
yeah.
to such a suggestion. Their teleporter rooms currently do not have the size necessary to fit beasts of burden through the teleporters.
What if
Well,
we all stack the horses on a vertical manner?
Yeah, did you consider vertical horses? I think we would.
I
make
don't
our
think that
way
makes it
to
easier
a
for them to
stable.
fit.
No, Dalf, you didn't consider the verticality of the horses.
Oh,
We would make
okay,
our way to
okay.
a stable. Do you ever try to talk quickly enough that someone can't tell you you're wrong?
Are there any other ways to get there in a day that's not horses?
By running really fast.
I was looking to our like magically inclined folk. Like, have any?
If I had a thing that could get us from here to there, I would have gotten us directly to there from Cadwell.
Okay.
Let's just
I could
the
get us
horses.
760 feet closer.
I don't think that's
Two of
going to
us?
put a huge dent in it.
Well, I'm just saying.
Let's just get the horses.
How much are horses gonna be?
Horses are pretty cheap. It's a 25 gold piece deposit, which you can get back upon return of the horses. If you don't return the horses, of course, that's you just lose 25 gold. And then 1 gold per day per horse.
Oh, that is cheap.
Yeah, they're cheap. Cheap for adventurers. For normal people, they're very expensive.
Guys, I got this one. I got 5. No, I don't got this one because what if they die?
No, you're
And
pretty
then
rad
I
there.
There's any obligation to bring the horse back.
And then I'm fucked.
I mean, if the horse dies, you just don't bring the horse back, and then you're out 25 gold instead of whatever.
No, bro, I'm good for it. I'll get you back. I promise.
I can get 3 of them. I didn't get to
Yeah.
put in money for the transport.
I can pay for 4 days if someone pays my deposit.
I can get the rest of the horses.
That and a sandwich, and you got a deal.
Thank you so much, dear. Thank you so much, Alash. I really appreciate it.
We
I've
can
unfortunately
also
lost a
get-
few horses before, so they don't trust me here as much.
We can also ride in pairs on the horse.
That's true. You don't have to buy a horse for every person.
I would imagine that would be slower.
It would be slower if you were pushing the horses really hard. At normal pace, then they can carry 2 people without much issue.
Do we want to push the horses really hard?
Well, that's a good point.
Do we think we need to?
Should we ask the horses?
Yeah, why aren't we thinking about the horse perspective
Yeah.
here?
Anyone you forgot to ask?
What do the horses think, Dolph?
There's lots of like neighing and whinnying at a moderate volume. It's difficult to decipher what exactly that means.
Can I roll handle animal?
I should.
You can try, but with a 5, you're not getting very far.
That wasn't my handle animal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
That makes more sense.
Better, much better.
I feel like Elantra like thinks you're talking to a horse, but you're talking to like the post or
Now-
something.
I was about to say Elantra has never talked to a horse, and then I realized I think Elantra has only talked to horses and not interacted with them in any way they can respond to.
Talk to
Yeah, I think a lot of people have talked to horses. Not many people have talked with horses. So handle animals a curious skill. It does not permit you true understanding. It's really for making
like
them
you
do
support.
stuff.
Yeah, I guess we could just use it to pick out the best horses.
Ooh. Like vibe.
Sure, you could certainly, with a 29 on handle animal, you can pick out the horses most suitable to, if you want, ride hard under heavy load.
Is that what we're going for?
Yes,
Yes.
although I don't
Everyone,
know. We don't know if we need to push them hard or not, but
At least
to
it's
have the-
capable.
We know they're preparing. We don't know when they're going to start, but in theory, they could start any moment, right?
Yeah.
exactly.
We took
So
the
time
time
is of the
to get
essence.
there quickly, so
I mean, we didn't pay for the horses, so
That's a good po- I
Some
was
of us
like,
did.
how antsy is the party? Like how because Gabitha's like, yeah, when we get there, we get there. But like,
I think we pushed the horses.
okay,
Yeah.
most people are.
Fuck
yeah,
the
they-
horse.
I would
That-
not
that is
want
a-
to be there later than tomorrow.
That is a good question, though, for sort of scene setting. What is kind of the mood among the group? Is anyone like particularly nervous or anxious to get there? Some of you have had closer encounters with the left hand than others. So
I think
I'm
Elantra
in
is
brisk
wearing.
action. Sorry, go for it.
Elantra's wearing like a lot of like very determined kind of 1,000-yard starey looks.
okay,
Similar. I would say brisk and determined.
It could be a stroll in the garden for Gabitha.
great. I would expect nothing less.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember how much Aram's interacted with the left hand. I think a decent amount.
Aram was at the mausoleum, was he not?
It's a mausoleum where I got feared.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, that was the first encounter with Callum Crane.
So he
Fuck that
is
guy.
also ready to get there.
Hey, where's the picture of that?
Yeah, Elantra was almost murdered by Callum Crane.
I think Ivet is spinning a lot of his self-made ring fidget spinner thing. There's a lot of little tiny gears that spin on each other. It's on his middle finger and he spins with his thumb.
So I think maybe we are trying to push the horses. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Slight
it sounds
retcon.
like the mood would lead people to pushing the horses whether they admit to it or not.
Yeah.
Alesh, are you also like antsy?
I think my experience with them is limited, only maybe once. So I'm kind of reading the room.
Yeah, the left hand was responsible ultimately for the situation at the swamp. But no, ranking members were present there, so you haven't had direct encounters.
Yeah, I think it's kind of business as usual, but everyone seems pretty pressed.
I was gonna slight retcon. Zell has a bloodthirsty grin.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, now important question. What's the name of the horses?
And
All
with
right,
that,
we need
we'll be
3
right
horses.
back.
Well, I can tell you as you walk out of the Waning Light Stables, which is attached to a rundown lighthouse that has since been replaced, that you were not told the names of the horses by the operators, but they do have name tags, which I will leave to you all to read. Haha.
I'd like to read my name tag.
What does it say?
Come back to me. I wanted you to tell me.
Too bad.
I think the name tag of the horse that I'm looking at says Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
That's an old bit.
Mine says crab.
How many horses did we get?
3.
3. Okay.
Sorry, so we've claimed crab and Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
We're just waiting.
You gotta act quick. You gotta act quick to read those horse name tags.
So the last one is named Golden Ship.
Legally distinct.
I like the idea that the horse name tags say like, "Hello, my name is," and they're like stickers just stuck on their flanks.
Crab.
I will say Gabitha doesn't have very like great vision. So like if anyone is like it's not crab, it's actually like you're probably right.
A similarly short word.
Yes.
That was Gary.
Yeah, these are like sewn into the they're sewn into the reins of each horse. Little
Oh yeah, there's no way I was
could have
reading
named
that.
bright
every single horse.
lettering
I could have
on
named
the leather.
every single horse as a anime girl, the horse.
Oh, that's better actually. We should name them all after Uma Musume's.
But keep it legally distinct.
Does
Not trying to get the
anyone wanna ride with
Yakuza in
Gabitha?
here.
I'm happy to ride with Gabitha.
Yay!
If
She
I
looks
bet
at
that's
you to
okay.
give her a boost up as well.
Great. It goes poorly, but it works.
So
makes sense. It only makes sense if Ivet goes with Zahel, so it balances the biggest one with the smallest one.
that tracks.
Okay.
And then the 4 mediumist ones will split the rest.
The other single horse.
Sounds good.
In terms of payment, you only need to cover the deposit right now, and the remainder gets collected upon return. So
Did we? Sorry, I had to step away for a second. Did we not get enough horses for everybody?
3
thought we were
horses
gonna
is the
do
current
3.
plan.
Okay.
Discount horses. You're with Yvette.
But you picked the best ones.
Okay.
We did get the best ones.
Elish hands over the fee for the horses.
And with that, unless anyone needs to make a stop on the way out of town, that would be your last chance before you arrive at Bluffburn, because as you know, that town is recently abandoned by order of the Tall of Eleftir. Recently as in like a year ago. So you're not going to hit civilization before things kick off. If things kick off.
I think I'm good. Were we able to take artifacts with us or no?
Oh, yes, of course. I left myself a note to not forget that, and I fucking forgot it. Yeah, what artifacts did people grab before we left Kedwell?
Oh shit! The purple salvo box.
Shocking.
Fine wrap.
Keeping it
You know, I'm
classic.
wearing those uncomfortable ass boots.
They're very nice.
Yeah, you specifically.
so
called them
expensive.
Uncomfortable for walking.
Oh, yes, that's true. They're very comfortable to sit on a horse in, though. They're just not meant for walking. I linked the page in case anyone doesn't want to go looking for it and doesn't remember.
Think
So we're getting the
I've
vine wrap,
been
the
rocking
passenger.
the cat's eye amulet for a while.
Okay.
Gnarly.
Passenger shoes is one of them.
I don't need the pebble, but I will bring it anyway.
Yeah, you have sort of upgraded from the pebble.
But it just feels good to have it around. Don't I usually wear some gross vest?
Yeah, you usually take the Murine vest.
Yeah. I'll throw that. I'll throw that in the mix.
I'm glad you remembered that it's gross, because it is kind of. It's
hood
not
and vest
flattering.
Covered in what appears to be dark brown rodent hair. Yeah.
And you left Seeker's base. It was kind of rainy, so it smells like wet. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, if you were wearing it at that time, it would not smell great.
Hey, I'm gonna grab the Lantern of the Glimmering Wilds.
Hell yeah!
that
Been
the
a
one that
while
makes
since we've
the-
seen that.
Oh, wait, that's the one that makes the invisible force field, the camp field, right?
Yeah.
That's big for a stakeout.
Should we bring the Ghost Needle as well?
Is that the one that makes you like a little ghosty, and then you walk a little bit as a little ghosty?
Maybe a good one to bring.
Yep.
I can bring that if no one else wants it.
It's not good for me to use it because it'll kill me, but it's good to have.
I will bring Ghost Needle and the Shape Stealer.
I can bring the salvo box and the lantern, so we spread it out the goods. Cause we can max 2, right? I mean max party, but like carry 2, right?
Really, you're not bringing the monocle for once?
Oh my god, the fucking monocle! I'm gonna put the monocle on. I forgot the monocle existed. It's the most like not up to date Alexa ever by now, but
Yeah, it has been outpaced. At this point, I think you have some party members that just are guaranteed to know more, but
yeah,
you know it's close to
think it
you
got
at this
couple-
point.
yeah,
You've brought it
I
along
think
through a lot of stuff.
I think it completes the look.
I'm gonna backtrack. I am actually gonna leave the cat's eye amulet.
Okay.
Gnarly.
And I would like, if no one else wants it, the terror teapot.
Oh yeah, the
Okay.
Crackers hit
And I think-
people with that shit.
Always curious to see what people will think of to do with the teapot, because it is, as conceived of, not a combat item whatsoever. And it has not exclusively, but it has been used in combat more than once.
Anything is a combat item if you swing it hard enough.
This is my killing
Very true.
teapot.
It's true.
And as a magical artifact, it has the benefit of being nearly indestructible. So
Ooh, that's good to know. It says it glows a bright red. Does it also, because it's magical, retain heat? Like,
When you pour,
not any longer than a metal teapot normally would, or a ceramic teapot normally would, rather.
Okay.
Which is to say, not that long.
darn.
when you pour something that you made on the teapot, does it stay with the effects of the teapot until someone drinks it?
Yes. There's no expiration on the beverage.
So you're telling me I could do teapot bullets?
I'm not telling you that.
I can.
No.
If I
Because
can
it has to be like the entire beverage has to be drank. It can't be injected into someone's veins via a bullet wound.
Okay, but what if I made tea scones with terror tea?
We might need to talk about that.
Okay.
I think anything. It's not written in the text, but I would probably go so far as to say anything, even if you let the beverage like cool down to room temperature, it's probably going to be less effective, let alone baking it into something or turning it into some other form. It is intended for hot beverages.
All right, I'll think about it.
Well, there is like ignition on my gun. It would turn the bullet hot, so
Certainly, there's going to be, again, I didn't write it in here, but there's going to be a limitation, which I think is pretty common with this sort of magic item, where like if you pour out all the contents of the teapot and then brew another thing, the previous pour outs lose their enchantment. You can only have one teapot's worth of stuff in the world at a time.
This is a very picky teapot.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're really
Yeah.
nerfing this teapot. Maybe I don't want it anymore.
I think for the most common use cases of this teapot, I have not nerfed it at all. It's just for the weird shit.
I
It's
also
brand
think
new
the common use of this teapot, we never used it.
No, I didn't expect this teapot to be used at all.
Look, I am a baker. I'm trying to figure out a way to use terror liquid and make something horrible.
I would like to bring the umbral tippet and the
Okay.
inscape whistle, if we're allowed to.
Wait, Gabata, you could like cook the poison eggs on the teapot liquid.
Oh my god, hard-boiled poisoned eggs.
Yeah, and there is a hard-boiled poisoned egg on the teapot liquid.
They last longer that way.
I know
It's
what
a
I'm making for
combo.
Easter.
It's a combo.
Amazing.
Now, what's fun here is the whistle y'all actually got from Mopotiv. The first time you encountered him at the mine.
Well,
He
Poda was
used
the guy who's we took his hand, right?
Correct.
Yikes. That'll be an awkward reunion.
I will do it again.
Stop it.
I'll do it again.
Make sure to
Okay.
really deliberately blow it. Like make it like a very like moment like I have your whistle.
So we have the Ghost Needle, we have Shape Stealer, we have the Purple Salvo Box, we have the Polished Pebble, the Lantern of the Glimmering Wilds, the Murine Vest, Kano's Vine Wrap, the Passenger's Shoes, the Terror Teapot, the Umbral Tippet, and the Inscape Whistle. Did I miss anything?
I didn't even remember the whistle.
Did you have the monocle?
Oh yeah.
I did not have the monocle, thank you.
Got it.
It's not.
If you're bringing too many things, I could leave behind the shoes and just have the lantern.
No, the monocle gets you up to 12, which is like you're capped. So you're good.
The monocle
rid
is
of the
also
shoes.
just the monocle is by now just an accessory. It's.
I feel like you didn't need the big hat to get through. You could have just taken off your monocle, and they'd be like, "That's certainly not Yvette."
True.
Alrighty. So, loaded up with magic items that you've had the whole time. You all ride out of town, pushing your horses a little bit, beyond a trot, certainly. You are, in terms of directionality, pretty much able to just follow the coastline, as far as you can tell from maps and things.
Are we at a pace that we will reach it before, never mind. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to change my spells. Fuck it. They're perfect.
You certainly can't change your spells from horseback.
Yeah, I would. There's things I might cast if we're going to get a chance for me to refresh before we get there.
I mean, all it takes is like 15 minutes of you not being under strain. So if you think you're pretty close, you can always just stop and have a 15-minute break and do your thing. You can also do it right now before you leave, if you would prefer.
I'm more thinking like if I'm gonna prep and cast a scrying because we have the time, but I would rather save that slot if we're gonna get there today.
Okay.
Stop. Can I say I'm taking another thing, but it was not an artifact?
What'd you have in mind?
The pickle jar with the hand in. Just in case.
I'm right now just trying to think if they would let you.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay. I think. Well, who do you ask permission of for this?
My boss.
Ian?
No, the alchemist. I forgot his name.
Oh, Q?
Yeah, Q.
Q.
Always don't ask anyone, and I just take it and then ask it for forgiveness and offer permission.
Okay, Q would direct you to Ashera, who is the overseer of the warehouse. So if after that you decide to just go swipe it, then I think I need a stealth roll from you.
That makes sense. Where's stealth? Here. It's a bazillion.
A bazillion, eh?
Yes.
Brazilian is actually Brazilian Portuguese for 2812.
So you got in, you got to where the hand was kept, and Ashera sidles up and asks what you're doing. She keeps a very close watch on the warehouse. Many are calling it magical.
You wanted me to grab his hand because he wants to do some experiments on it.
Bluff.
Just absolutely derailing the thing. Just because I want to be petty.
This could pay off in a big moment later, so like I'm into it.
I don't know. I maybe have clicked twice. Yeah, the first one. Because it's laggy as shit for some reason.
I had to switch to Chrome.
Okay. She narrows her eyes and tells you to wait here while she goes and confers with Q.
Don't fucking ask him. What the fuck?
Are you gonna wait?
Oh yeah, I can just take it and leave. Yeah.
You're
I could do that.
yeah. I mean, you can pile on consequences for future. I bet.
Yeah. I'm gonna just take it. And then I'm gonna leave walking like a Disney villain.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Ashera walks out. She's got to leave the warehouse entirely to go ask Q. It's in a whole ass different building. So you just dip with the hand and head onto Arrow's Edge, and now we jump back here.
Yes.
Back to the present day as you are on your horse, checking to make sure that the hand is still secure.
Yes. The hand was also under the hat when I went through the body.
Yeah, you in addition to your magic items have a jar with preservative fluid,
This is just me
and
testing if it's still laggy.
the left hand of
And it's still
a black scaled dragonborn.
Nice. Just in case.
Sure.
Just a hand in the jar, you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Keeping things around just in case.
You never know when you need it. Okay.
Maybe I get hungry.
God. As you all are riding up, I think it's as good a time as we're going to get to take a little bio break. I need to pee. My coffee's running through me, so reconvene in 5-ish. Sound good?
Lovely. Sounds perfect.
I also kind of want to pee, so I think it's good.
Excellent.
Okay, I'm gonna go pee. Hi, Peach. Still laggy. It's fixed. What did I do? Don't know.
Rolls.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's
fixed,
just
guys.
slow.
Yeah, I was testing the animation was like choppy and laggy, and it was hurting my eyes.
You can turn off the animation.
But I like the animation. I just need the
Fair
animation to run smoothly. I also find out that you can have it so you can like need to like shake your mouse to troll it.
Zell is back.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. They sure are a lot of rolls.
I was testing the animation.
Still lagging for you?
Nah, now it's fixed.
Do you do the animated dice?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's bad.
yeah, it's fixed now. What did I do? Don't know. I turned the acceleration hardware of my browser off, and then it didn't work, so I turned it on again. And then I stopped my AD block on roll 20, and then at some point it just kind of worked.
Roll 20's dice roller is moody.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to grab a drink.
Oh, you should do that too. Wait, is everyone here? Oh, holy shit!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a normal attack roll.
Works for me.
Yeah, I feel like you've been really busy in the 5 minutes that I've been gone.
Lots of
Yeah.
swimming and riding.
That's it. I
Yes.
knew you were
My
fighting that
horse-
dolphin that we talked about. I love
My
that.
horse went a crazy way, guys.
Oh my gosh, you into hell, I guess.
Shouldn't
Del,
take
how
an
will I
elephant
roll a full
crab.
attack with 2-weapon fighting in roll 20 now? Because that'd be 3 attacks, right?
Go.
Let's see if we can't whip something up real quick. Because that's a good point. I don't know if it'll currently be handled correctly. Probably not. Wait, actually, just hit your dagger X2.
For full attack? Okay.
Yeah, I think that will work.
Well, that, because 2-weapon fighting is a second extra attack, right?
Yeah, I
Or
think
am I-
that'll work, but I mean, we'll see.
Alright, we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, it will. Okay.
Yeah,
Because
because it's got the offhand as an extra attack, and it automatically does the second attack from your high BAB, and we just ignore it if you're not doing a full attack. So if you just do, well, I guess to make multiple attacks, you're doing a full attack anyways. So for this, you'll always do all of them.
And then I just roll sneak attack damage for whatever hits, right?
Yeah, and you'll do your
Hit.
sneak attack damage only for the,
So
usually
this
the
would probably be
first
all
one.
3, so I would just do like.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. I went to grab a
Yeah, I
drink
guess
for myself.
depending if your sneak attack is coming from a flank, you're going to get it on all 3. If it's just coming from like stealth, then you'll get it on the first one.
Yes, or yeah. Okay, so that actually does work. Never mind then. That's awesome.
Is that everyone? Elantris still gone?
I'm back.
Okay.
Roll call.
I don't know if I heard a Lesh.
Oh,
I'm here. I am here.
Okay,
Oh.
yeah, there.
cool. Okay.
Everyone is here. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
So, riding up the coastline, the beach quickly disappears as you leave the outskirts of Waynesmith. The sand begins to turn into, this sort of like bluish gray, not stones, but, sort of like shards of like shell and things like that. And that gives way then further into rock, and you begin to go up. The elevation rises pretty steadily for the rest of the journey as Bluffburn sits on a cliff. The ride is uneventful as you push your horses to make it as quickly as possible. It looks like you're going to be arriving at night. So it's going to be like, I don't know, like 2 a.m. or something like that, if you just ride all the way through. So with that in mind, do people want to take a break and like sleep, or do you just want shit to go off at 2 a.m.? That's an option as well.
It would give us more cover to approach in the dark.
Night shit.
Will we be
Let's do
really
it.
tired? Like,
That's
will we have
okay.
exhaustion or something?
No, you won't take mechanical penalties until, further into the following day. So you'll have a couple of hours, but if you get there and then decide to do a stakeout for 8 hours, then you're going to start to suffer some things. Or you're going to have to, take naps and shifts.
Okay.
Gabitha slept the entire horse ride, so she's ready to keep going.
That is true. We could sleep in shifts on the horses if we want to go through the night.
Shit.
Sure. We take
Doesn't
turns.
a hollow brew have some like alert properties to it?
Oh yeah, you're like.
Are you still addicted to that
addicted.
stuff?
Oh,
Hell yeah.
It's been 4 days.
Shit. I'm concerned.
Where's my... It's not equipment.
I forgot you had an addiction.
Yeah.
We can
There
take
it is.
turns, and then one of the person on the horse sleep, and the other one keeps track for the person sleepy. Don't fall from the horse. And in the case of Zahel, he's gonna wake up on the floor because I cannot hold him.
Yeah, I mean, Hollow's Brew is a stimulant that
Let's
is
go.
often used, like an energy drink. And so long as the effects of it never wear off, you feel great.
Yeah. Let's. I got plenty.
Now, I don't know if you have enough to supply the entire party. Well, you're strong. You might be able to carry it.
I spent money when you first gave me the how much it cost. I ended up spending several on just essentially infinite.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
he got a
You've
subscription
got
for
a
that.
subscription to the technically illegal but not really beverage.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I can't remember if it's like silvers or whatever, or just I
Yeah,
threw
no,
like
it's
20
like
gold at it.
it's not cheap, but for an adventurer, it's basically free. So you certainly could have purchased a lot and had it,
I
like
got a guy.
delivered to your home. So if people want to indulge in this, then that is an option as well.
I think I'd rather not.
It is alcoholic, right?
Yeah.
No, it's not alcoholic, but it is minorly addictive.
We're on the same horse. We can just take shifts.
Big sleep.
You go to sleep, Yvette. I'm good.
The mid sentence, I've had sleeping already. Because I make sure
Elantra?
every single character I play sleeps very easily because I sure can't.
Get that.
Fantasy.
Elantra spent maybe 20 minutes talking to Gabitha before realizing she's been asleep.
Oh no, Gabitha, I tried to stay awake for that. I want you to feel encouraged. You're such a nice young lad. So
I am, again, 200 plus years older than you.
there, sweetie. I know. No. I tried to make it as long as possible through the 20 minutes.
I'm not helping with what I'm talking about.
talking about like a fucking math game that he plays.
Quadratia, you mean?
Yeah.
The problem was I nodded so much listening to you, and I was like, like I literally nodded.
Very
myself
literally
to you.
nodded off. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
The
Sorry,
fascinating thing about the gravity sphere is that as it expands, it seems not to be reversing or interrupting or interfacing with the current gravity of Enodim, but rather creating its own gravitational.
Yes, dear. I'll put it in the oven for you. Yes. No gravity, just like we said.
And so whether or not it increases or decreases or nullifies the gravity, it is irrelevant to the effects of the gravitational field surrounding it. And this has been the real key. You see, and it's just this for Miles.
Would you be offended if
party has
Gabitha
fallen
asked to play
asleep.
the quiet game?
No. I mean, me in character maybe, but in player, no. Very funny.
I love. Have you heard of my favorite game that we played back in my village?
So condescendent.
It's where our best ideas happen.
Now you are talking to me like I'm 300 years younger, but
I know, dear. I know you are definitely 300. I winked at the horse because I can't turn and wink at you. I'm also assuming I'm in front.
Mm-hmm. I love the idea of you being in front and falling asleep, but then I'm holding the reins around you.
I feel like we're the problem horse. So
that's what I assumed.
Wait, Gabitha's in the front while Elantra is.
She said it. She said it.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm yes standing this move. Yep.
Yep.
That way she doesn't fall off because I have my arms stabilizing her.
True.
Gabitha loves a warm hug. A warm hug. It's great.
Ship it.
Okay, so it sounds like we've got the rest situation sorted. We've got one person on stimulants. We've got, Yvette and Gabitha took a nap, or, got like sleep the whole time, basically.
If Zahel is not taking his turn, I'm sleeping double.
Yeah, that was the impression I got. Was Zahel was.
I trust the hollow brews more than I do Yvette, so.
Oh, that's so true.
And we so Elish and Aram took shifts, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Elantra's an elf.
Rude.
So you need like an hour. And it can come later.
Do Samsarans have any trade around sleep? I don't remember.
Yeah. So, in the dead of night, you creep up on the town of Bluffburn, a small, abandoned, but still intact town. You can see it from pretty far away on account of all the buildings are this like yellowish cob. They're pretty squat, with the exception of a chapel that stands pretty tall in comparison to the rest of the structures. And it's very quiet as you approach up to the town. What's the plan in terms of your approach? Like, when are you getting off the horses? Are you riding them into town? Are you tying them up somewhere? What's the idea?
Quick refresher. When we did the scrying and we saw them preparing, explain that for me once. Like, we saw them preparing in the town of in this town, or somehow knew that this would be the town that they target. But this place is abandoned, right?
Yes. So this town was purchased by by Tal Novam, who is, for all intents and purposes, the governor of Ulethtir. For the development of an academy and research facility associated with the Royal Globe Museum, which is run by Noyer Roussel. So that's all public records that probably Elantra, I don't remember exactly, but someone looked that stuff up at some point once, after you determined that this was the likely location. But in terms of narrowing down where this location was, it was honestly a wild shot from piecing together the little chips of blue shell on the floor in the basement that you saw, because the scry saw a basement in this place.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
It does sound familiar now that you say it.
yeah.
So because that basement was in this town, we know that we saw them preparing here. So okay, just clarifying whether we thought they were. Yeah. So we think that they are in this town, not just targeting it, or not targeting it.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not the target. This would be the launching point.
Is there anything I would know about previous layout of the town, like where buildings are, or what structures exist that seem likely for them to have been operating out of and within?
Sorry, I'm just double checking all of the information you got from the Thought Core about this, because that was another piece apart from the scry. Oh, okay. You have a pretty good idea already, actually. Because you saw, or rather it was described to you, I believe, a vision from the perspective of the orb. So it was through a fabric satchel that this vision was, the perspective of this vision was. But it was someone showing Callum Crane into a chapel with a basement. There was stained glass.
We know they are under the chapel, right? Like whatever they're getting ready is under the chapel.
Sounds like it. Can
Do
we
I
see?
remember they?
Can we go for it?
Do I remember that they had like zombies under the chapel, just kind of standing still? Or did I have that? Just imagine that.
I think there's a pretty solid chance you did not imagine that.
Okay.
But I can't say for sure. That's not something I would have had. I have good notes for because it came up in a tavern talk. So,
Can we see the town yet?
yeah. I mean, I'm sort of cutting this decision point as soon as you can see the town.
Is there any like visible fortifications or towers or anything like that
No.
for the town? Okay.
Can we see if there's any movement in the town?
From the current distance, I'd say no. You can't tell. You're very far away. Certainly, you can keep an eye out for that as you get closer.
Okay, Gabitha will be looking.
What you can tell from here is that, well, certainly you can't hear anything, so there's no like loud situation in the town. And you don't see any like lights coming out of the town at all.
And we can't hear anything at this distance either.
Yeah, at this distance, the only thing you'd be able to hear was something quite loud that was happening in there, and you don't, so.
It's still dark, right?
Yes.
How's the approach around the village? Like, open? Is it lit in any way?
It is not lit. You just have moonlight. Actually, give me a second. Let me tell you how much moonlight. It could matter. 6.
The lantern
Okay.
doesn't work if it's moving, right?
Correct. The lantern has to be stationary. It is actually a pretty bright night. One of the moons is full, and the other is in like quarter phase, waxing quarter. So it's a pretty bright night. In terms of the overall illumination, lights coming from the town, there are none. There's, like I said, there's no fortifications or anything like that. It's just kind of open. Let's see. There is a road that you've been... Well, I'll leave it up to you whether you've been on the road or not, but certainly it is following roughly the path that you were taking that enters the town from the south.
I know there was some talks about a stakeout, but I'm not sure if
Yeah.
we should wait just
We should
because
wait,
we
We
know
know
that they
where-
can teleport,
Oh, that is true.
Yeah.
so it's not guaranteed that they'll leave through visible means.
So we might not.
What
Yeah,
was that?
that's true. A stakeout might
I-
give us nothing.
Oh.
I think we just go to the chapel. Going to the chapel.
Yeah. I think we should go but I think we should go stealthily.
Yeah, I think we tie the horses up outside of town.
In a place where we don't lose Alesh's generous deposit. So no horses getting eaten this time.
It's going to be, I'm going to be honest, difficult to ensure the safety of horses. You just tie up in
Yeah.
like
Good point.
a random part of the wilderness.
Crab is coming with me. But Crab,
Into
if I'm
the
slowing
chapel.
Crab to a walk or whatever is this quiet.
We
horse.
could use the lantern to keep the horses safe. We did that once.
It's a good
I was
idea.
gonna say,
That's
isn't
true.
That how we found the lantern? Wasn't that what it was being used for when we discovered it?
It was hiding a camp.
Camp.
It was
The
hiding a
person,
camp, yeah.
Yeah, same idea.
person
Mhm.
got dragged away by vines.
Yeah, I think the only other use of the lantern was to hide. I don't remember if it was y'all's camp or if it was just the horses, but it was certainly including some horses.
It's all coming back. It's all coming back to me now.
Yeah, we could definitely use the lantern for the horses, and then just hope that the same thing doesn't happen to us that happened to them.
Then we'll be
Yeah.
out of lantern.
I don't think the same thing will happen because the vine is here, not.
True.
Fingers crossed.
That's true. Yeah,
don't-
the downfall of the inhabitant of the camp that the lantern was at before was a tremor sense plant creature that bypasses the protections of the lantern that pulled a guy out. So just hope there's no creatures with tremor sense around that like horses.
Why did you say it that way?
Can we check? Can we
I think it's fine. I think we leave the horses and we lantern them, and then we go look at the Sistine Chapel.
Okay, but if
We're not
Crab,
making it
Golden
out
Ship, and
alive
Franklin
anyway.
Delano Roosevelt die, it will not be on Gabitha's hands.
We go look and see Chapel Roan live in concert.
God, I wish.
Could you imagine if Dalf had hired Chapel Roan for this session?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
knows
wild.
Wait,
More
did you-
than one
did you
Chapel
hear-
Roan song?
Did you see the thing with her and Weird Al?
You think I know
No.
one Chapel Roan song?
I think
Yes, you do.
know at
You
least
definitely
one.
do.
No, if you told me the name of a song and said that's by Chapel Roan, there's a chance I might know it. But gun to my head, tell me to name one, can't do it.
I mean, I couldn't even name Chapel Roan until we just Googled her.
Guys, come on. Pink Pony
Come
Club.
on.
Hot to go.
Nope.
Hot to go.
Hot to go. My
Hot to
Kink
Go's
is
a
Nope.
great
Karma.
song.
Nope.
Casual.
I mean,
Nova. fine.
I do generally enjoy one of her songs, so
luck,
recognizing the
babe.
album art. Couldn't place the artist.
Wait, is
luck,
she the
babe.
one that has? Is there like a song about coffee or something?
That's Sabrina
Yes.
Carpenter.
Sabrina
No, she-
Carpenter.
That's-
Damn.
No,
Yeah,
Sabrina
that's-
Carpenter has
Nice try.
espresso.
Very
Sabrina
different.
Carpenter
Yeah,
has
that.
espresso,
Very
but
different.
so glad this is
Chapel
part of
Roan
our
has
session tonight.
coffee.
Chapel Roan does have a song called Coffee, but it's not the one you're thinking of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. It's not the one I'm thinking of.
This is not the coffee.
And I don't think I've heard espresso. I've heard Sock talk about espresso.
Da-da-da-da. Why are you talking? Okay.
It was my number one song on Spotify last year.
Yikes.
Oof. It's a great song.
It's like
The
no, we're gonna
reactions.
take this off chat. It's like a pretty bad song, but that's fine.
The reactions
Wow.
were
Gabitha-
crazy.
Gabitha dismounts from Crab and ties him.
We're just moving on.
Yes, I am. I'm pulling us back.
I look like a football coach when the referee made a questionable call right now.
Just arms
I
out.
threw my hat on the side. What are you talking about? It's a great song.
Is that Lisa Simpson still image?
I would love if Gabitha and Elantra are actually arguing this.
Because it's Sabrina Carpenter
Mhm.
canon into
Yeah, that
Energy?
Sabrina Carpenter be canon. She's just
No.
the same.
She's just a bar doing songs with very
I mean,
innuendos.
She certainly could be a bard that like recently passed through Arrow's Edge. Like that's certainly a thing that could happen.
All right.
And the two oldest people in the adventuring party went to her concert. That checks out. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be, set up as a concert so much as just the bar you go to sometimes has bards
And
as
her hit
entertainment.
song Espresso.
And she was there.
What is espresso? Who knows?
Yeah,
Well, this is
weird
me
where
we're
she
talking
says-
about. Of course, coffee exists in this universe.
Yeah, coffee, but not an espresso.
Why not?
Oh,
Is it not a machine one?
You could do it by
you had
hand.
it done.
Magic.
How's the threat in the town? What time is it? Is it still 2 a.m.?
Oh yeah, it's still middle of the night.
Just checking.
Oh yeah, we won a game. I forgot.
How long have we
I-
been talking about?
I'm
Barista?
Elish, if you're okay, we'll put our horse with Crab.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
Although
Yeah,
actually,
I'm
I
assuming
wanted the
all
horse, not
three are
me.
being
I forgot.
put in the same
Tied
spot.
up. Yeah, on the
Yeah.
same spot.
Okay, you tie the horses up. You
We
find
tie them all up on the same tree in case they need to run. They have the strength to just reap the tree.
Now that is A, crazy, and B, really smart.
Yeah.
I like that.
so yeah, you find a tree that's not particularly thick or sturdy, but they're trained horses and know when they've been tied up not to pull on things. So they won't run away unless they need to, and you
Yeah.
think they can. So I'll give you that much. You pull out the lantern and light it. And drape these delicate petals that are part of it up over the glass globe, which gives a like purple hue to the light that's emitted from this lantern. Sit it there for a couple of minutes in the a central-ish location to where they're tied up. I guess next to the tree would make sense. And after a few minutes, from the outside, from about 30 feet away from the lantern, you can no longer see the horses or the tree to which they are tied. You can't hear them trotting around or making any noise without really, really trying.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna swipe a mechanic from second edition here.
Oh,
Disgusting.
Yeah, I know. As you approach the town, what is each of you focusing yourself on? So, Gabitha had previously mentioned she wanted to keep an eye out for movement in the town.
And
Elantra could be doing a extended detect magic thing or something. What are you paying the closest attention to?
Yeah.
Sorry, specifically just for Gabitha, she is alert, but her vision is not that good. So
Okay.
it's probably she's relying on sounds more. And
Okay.
spidey senses, which run very strong in her.
I am trying to kind of stay quiet and low, but I'm focused less on the town and more closer to us, looking for any guards they have or watch people they have further out from the town.
All right.
So I'm not really focused on the town itself.
I'm looking
Approaching on the
for.
road.
I don't know yet. I'm looking for evidence of enchantments, evidence of ritual, or any perhaps illusions or disguised buildings. Anything that was a sign of magic was done here, or magic is being done here, or we're covering up something with magic.
Okay.
I think I'm double teaming with Aaron. Truly just blinked. And he's keeping eyes on guards and shit, and I'm keeping eyes on maybe traps on the ground. More mechanical-ish meanings of defense and alarms.
If
All
I
right.
were a guard, I'd be on a roof right now too.
I was
I
gonna
don't
say
have to be looking up.
Elish is looking up, and looking for signs of startled wildlife for birds or things like that.
Ooh,
Very
okay.
I was gonna ask about could we roll like a survival check for like tracks or something if we're on the road, like see what could have been coming and going.
Certainly, yeah. If that's where you want your attention to be, then there may be something there for you. Okay. Then I think what I need is perception from Gabitha. Perception from Aram. Knowledge Arcana from Elantra. Survival from Zell. I'm going to say Knowledge Nature, probably, from Elish. And Disabled Device or Perception for Ivat.
I didn't roll very well.
Oops. I didn't think about it.
I'm trying to find my tab. My tab is my freaking sheet. Everyone just immediately is looking different directions.
Yeah, no, you've got your bases covered.
The cool part is it like we have our bases covered and it feels like natural in everyone's role, like what
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're paying attention to.
Okay. Zell, you're getting an extra 4 to that. I think you're level 8, right? Or 9? Yeah, 4 still. Because you are looking for tracks or, like cart, wheel
That's
marks
the,
or whatever.
Is that the specialization or whatever?
No, the specialization is the 1/3 to track in wilderness, to track specifically like the target of your contract.
Yeah, you have to like have a target.
Yeah. So you're able to see that on this stretch of road, particularly once you start getting closer to the town, it would have been less pronounced when you were further south. This stretch of road doesn't look like it's been used much at all in the last couple of months. It's starting to look weathered in a way that only comes from disuse. I bet you have not found anything yet. We might circle back when you get closer.
Oh, so there is something to get closer by. I got
Maybe.
you.
Gabitha and Elish, I think, both are kind of noticing the same thing, and that's nothing. Elish, it's unusual to you because you would expect there to be, at this time of night, there's certain animal noises that are typical, but those noises have died down as you've gotten closer to the town, in a way that is unnatural. And Gabitha, yeah, you're keeping a keen ear out and not hearing anything, really at all. Which I guess it's sort of tying into that. You're not hearing any animals or anything like that. But it's really driving home that there's truly no one living here. And probably no one, like walking around, at least on this like southern part of town, with a 27, like you would probably be able to hear them like boots on rooftops and stuff, and you're not getting any of that.
Is there a sense for how far, like, do I have a sense for how far my awareness stretches? Like, am I like, okay, by the middle of town, I kind of know, like,
yeah, I mean,
no
certainly not like a precise cutoff point, but
sure.
You don't think that, well, I mean, first of all, you don't know exactly how big the town is, but you don't think you can necessarily hear up to the chapel yet at this point. But you can tell certainly the buildings on the lowest, most southernmost part of the town are vacant entirely, and there's no one walking around them or anything like that.
Okay.
Aram, you're getting a similar situation to, I guess, what Elish and Welby kind of gathered, which is there's not really evidence of anything around. You're not hearing the types of animals that might threaten you at night. You're not seeing any evidence of, like troop movements or anything like that in having come through here or anything like that. Elantra.
Mm-hmm.
Me? I think what I'm going to give you with a 22 is that they're like, you're not getting anything specific, and you're not getting like, your usual glowing magic thing that you get from your vision that you're able to then hone in on. But there's a very faint, and it's probably made harder because of the time of night, a very faint, like, extra darkness to this town that feels necromantic in nature. Almost like there's a bubble surrounding the whole place. Maybe it's an emanation from somewhere within the town. It might, like, you can't really tell what it is yet.
Can I tell where its border is? Like, are we within whatever, like, potential dome?
You're not within it yet.
Okay.
But I guess it feels like it encompasses all of the structures of the town. I'll give you that.
Okay.
You have not penetrated that yet.
I'm just gonna quietly pass that on to the group. There appears to be some sort of darkness, perhaps necromantic in nature, that's enveloping or perhaps concealing the town, but I truly don't know what it is. Do I know what it is?
No. I mean, you know that it's necromantic in nature, and that's it.
Okay, great.
Elish, can you make another knowledge nature roll with this additional information? Okay. You are pretty sure that that is kind of the explanation for what you're not noticing. So the wildlife probably don't know why, but it's likely that this sort of magical aura is unsettling to them, so they just kind of have moved away.
I think it's driving away the wildlife.
That would make sense. There's always been something particularly unnatural about the magics of necromancy.
Gabitha's gonna cast message, just so if we get closer, if we want to whisper to one another, we can all hear each other clearly.
Okay.
Yeah, I can also cast message. I also speak common sign language.
Hell yeah.
I do that too.
Elantra, now may be the time if you want to do a prepare, just, so you don't forget that that's
great call. All right, gang. I have 3 spell slots that I have open to of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th level. 3rd level spells that I'll let y'all choose. Oh, that's right. I named tongues. Summon a bunch of tongues. Fireball and Haste are the 2 I have prepared now, as well as a toppling spell version of Aggressive Thundercloud. We could throw in a Dispel Magic. We could throw in a Fly. We could throw in another of the spells I already have prepared. I'm thinking Dispel Magic.
That's what I would do.
I like Dispel Magic.
4th level, we have Scrying, Dimension Door, Resilient Sphere, or Greater Invisibility. I have a Dimension Door and a Resilient Sphere prepared already.
Okay.
Resilient Sphere is like a small lockdown. Like I can put somebody in a bubble made of force magic and they can't do anything from inside of it.
I feel like
I
you
could
should
do a
go based on
second
what
of those, or we could get a greater invisibility for one of the sneaky people or something.
I feel like you should go with based on what Elantra would do.
Mhm.
Like what would Elantra do based on that knowledge of like there might be like spooky dooky necromancy.
Let's go with that then. And then I'm just gonna prepare one of my other 5th level spell. Okay, that's all done.
okay. So that takes like 15 minutes. There's a little break while everyone figures out what the next steps are, and Elantra prepares the last couple of their spell slots for the approach. Before you proceed any further, is anyone's attention or focus changing in any way, or is anything changing about how you are approaching?
Focusing on
gonna-
ahead of us now as we approach the village.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep track of shit on the floor.
I'm taking a note from my vet and looking for, kind of keeping an eye out for traps and things at the same time.
I think Gabitha is doing that thing where you're kind of looking through your periphery because she's assuming that as they walk, her companions will kind of have straight ahead. So she's kind of keeping an eye out for movement on the sides.
Okay.
I think I'm staying in my lane.
Yep, same.
All right, then I think it's the same roll for everyone except for Zell. It's turning into a perception.
On it, boss.
I'm rolling
Am I still
so
rolling perception
badly.
as well?
Yes.
20 badly. Oh, I get it.
Nice.
I see.
Boy, the senses are open for Gabitha and Zahel. So, as you get a little bit closer, and I think Elantra's probably keeping everyone abreast of sort of where the that like necromantic energy that they recognized earlier begins. So you'll not be crossing that threshold yet. Gavith and Zell both You get like it's so faint. But it is like a door creaking open just the tiniest bit and then closing.
And how far away are we in the village, or are we approaching?
No,
still?
you're right on the edge.
And the sound comes from inside the village?
Mm-hmm. Dead ahead. As you approach up on the road still, I assume, from the south.
Would it be
Zell, like-
wise to not take the road into the village?
I was gonna say, Sahel, you respond first.
Well, before responding, what is the surrounding? I mean, so it's on a cliff. Is there a tree? Is there like a tree line or anything like that, or is it just open space, rocky? Is there any cover?
There's not much to work with in terms of cover. You have the ocean, the Aqurian Ocean off to your left, the west. The town, as I said before, has no sort of fortifications or anything, so the road just kind of goes into the town. It's pretty like barren for the most part around. There is, there's like scatterings of trees, but there's no like, forested area that you would describe. So you might be able to find a spot to stand behind something, but you won't be able to. There's no like natural cover that you could use to approach.
I have a question. You said it's like a door. Is it like for Zahel and Gabitha, is it like a door, but it might be like a trunk opening, or is it that is a door opening?
Yeah, it's that sound, but it could be, it could be a trunk opening. It could be even like a squeaky wagon wheel or something, but it is that sort of creaky noise.
Or like a cellar door opening.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, gotcha. Gabitha is going to just kind of whisper it using message. And she is going to cast Good Hope. Which just gives all of us a +2 morale bonus on anything. Because Gabitha is now finally like feeling alert.
Get your nap in and you're locked in.
Yeah, I think now she's like, okay, feel like shit's hitting the fan.
Okay, so for the next couple of minutes, you have this benefit for the whole party. Very nice. Elantra posed the question of whether or not you should be approaching on the road. Was that dealt with?
That's cool. I was going to ask him for like if there's any sort of cover, but it sounds like it's pretty open, all sides considered.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we approach on the road. Now that Zahel is going to deal with whatever that beep was that just barely peeked through the Discord filter.
My cookies are done.
Yay!
No
Nice.
Cookies.
Oh, cookies. I wish cookies.
Now I want cookies, and now I'm sad.
We have
Yeah.
in the fridge. We're okay.
Wait, I have a brownie on my fridge.
Amazing.
Oh yeah.
I forgot.
Why are people keeping all their baked goods in their fridge? Is that a thing?
No, our friend brought us alfajores from Argentina.
I don't think it's on the fridge. I think it's on the microwave, but the microwave is closed.
We do have those. That's true.
I have Costco Danishes in my freezer because if I don't freeze them, they'll go moldy before I finish the other pack. Anyway, so we approach on the road.
I was gonna say, but like with this info, do any of us want to not be on the road?
The info about the baked goods, or
Yeah. Knowing about the baked goods and knowing all the things we have in our fridges and on our microwaves, knowing that some noise has just kind of activated, like the creaking sound. I think
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I thought you were done. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think Gabitha kind of like shares this and then is kind of looking to you all.
I didn't rebut it. I think Aaron was kind of already at the side of the road and will probably stay there.
Okay.
Yeah. Does it make sense to circle around a building and not go directly in? Just to avoid a gate check or if I were putting the most of my focus somewhere, I'd put it on the easiest place to get in.
I feel like it's pretty likely we're going to.
I'm good where whichever approach we want to take.
I don't know that it'll make a large difference, but I want to throw it out.
As I did it right in the mic, sorry.
Alesh, what were you saying? Sorry, it was soft for me.
Oh no, just I don't think it'll make a very big difference.
Okay, then
roadway it is.
On the road.
Keep these damned shoes clean.
My whisk is in my hand, though.
Oh yeah, gun.
Ooh, that is
gun
ready.
hand.
Yeah, is everyone else readying for?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Gun
You know
right
I
hand.
got that thaumaturgy orb on me.
What does it look like, baby? New gear.
A sphere of glass-like crystal, which has within it a sort of are y'all familiar with like a sunburst finish on a guitar where it's like a light color in the middle and a dark color on the edges?
Mm-hmm.
You know I'm not.
It's the opposite of that, where it's sort of lighter in the middle and the center, and it seems to get darker as it goes out. But it feels like that darkness and light relationship is omnidirectional somehow. Like there's a layer of darker outside, a layer of lighter, but somehow you can perceive both from the outside. Color-wise, it's sort of like a smoky navy purple.
Static or shifting?
It's sort of fluid, like it'll respond to moving, but like it's relatively viscous, and so it doesn't like move a lot, but it will slowly move.
Oh, so it's
Does
not
it
like
shine?
a marble.
The outside surface is shiny, yes.
Like
It's a big marble.
But it wouldn't
like a big
attract
marble.
attention.
No more so than the metal of a sword blade would.
Fair. Okay.
Is it
Certainly less than a gun.
Well, thank goodness no one in our party has a gun.
No. Yeah. I can
No.
lock. I can lock
a
a net in a
giant
sphere
flare.
of silence or something.
Is it handheld or do you have it like on a staff or something?
I hadn't even considered that I could put it on a staff.
It's just a ball. You can put it wherever you want.
in my mind, it was handheld.
Okay.
I was gonna say, did I miss the size? Is it like softball sized?
Yeah. If you got a cabbage patch size, you'd be a little disappointed in it.
I was imagining like a bowling ball for some reason.
No, bowling ball, I think would be the top end of how big I would want any orb to be.
Yeah, it's like the size can vary for sure, but it's got to be something that you can hold in one hand because your other hand is used for magic stuff.
I think softball is about the right thing. I think this is very based on my line of work. Do y'all know those harnesses that photographers will have for their cameras where they'll have like two cameras, one on either side, and one hangs down? I think I've got a situation kind of like that, with one side is a spell book and the other side is the orb.
Okay.
Wait, so you have a harness like supporting them? I'm failing to
It's like a harness that they both can hang from, so that I can let go and then they can stay on my person.
It's not like you're using the harness to hold something up. Okay.
Dude has a utility belt.
Now I want you to like just have like a comically large, like, you know, like a big inflatable beach volleyball size orb in one hand.
Here's an image reference for the type of harness that I'm imagining.
Ah, okay. Zahel,
Yes.
Gabitha kind of wanders over to you and kind of leans in and says, I think it's going to be a long night. Can I get some of that flask, Sonny?
Zell eagerly hands it over. Gingerly,
Gonna get
yeah,
the-
gingerly hands it over, reluctantly.
Gonna
Okay.
get the old lady hooked, dude.
Gabitha takes like a swig, like, you know, this is not the first substance she has swigged before, like, and then she passes it back with a gentle thank you.
Zell nods in approval then.
Okay. So you are kind of at the precipice. Actually, I think we're close enough that I can move you to the map.
Yay!
Things are happening.
Of being on the map.
Do I remember how to do this? Are you? Yeah, there we go. It's all black, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have half black. Well, never mind.
Yeah, yeah.
There we go.
There's the like background color, but oh, apparently you can see that your tokens are in a spot, but you can't see them. Good.
I
you-
can't
see
see my
only
tokens at
my
all.
name.
I
Well,
can
never mind.
just I can just see my name and health bar.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can see
yeah,
my
yeah.
name and health
Exactly.
bar
Because
only.
your tokens are underneath Fog of War.
Wow, that's big.
Yes, you are probably going to need to zoom out.
I was gonna say I'm not on here, but there I am all the way down there.
Wow.
Or, I mean, maybe you can stay zoomed in. I guess you're not going to be absorbing this entire space all at once. Give me a second to find the tool. There it is. They changed
I'll be
everything.
right back. I hear a dog making noise. She needs to go outside.
Back on the doggos. Where's my dog?
Doggles.
The doggos.
Dolph, I had a question, and I promise not to take this the wrong way.
Please go ahead.
Is there a token for my companion vulture?
Yes, I did forget to put it out, but I do have one ready to go.
Okay, sweet.
I have not forgotten. Well, I mean, I kind of did because I forgot to put it out, but I haven't forgotten that you have one.
No worries. I didn't want to ask like after things started happening.
What makes you think things are going to happen? Come on.
Yeah, you're just entering the sleepy town of Bluffburn.
Yeah,
Yep.
under the fog of just nighttime.
Peace.
Regular fog.
Yep.
Normal
Snoozing.
darkness.
Yes.
No spooky energy here at all.
Certainly not the necromantic kind.
Yeah, I think
I just drank the hooch because I'm experimenting. I'm
From
in my
my
rebellious
college
phase.
days. Yeah. Zahel, you remind me of when I was younger.
100%.
This will make you feel young again.
had her time back in a day. Roofs.
I did this in a weird way, but we're making it work.
I feel like that's universally true of using Roll20.
Yeah, maybe.
We need to learn how to use another thing, guys.
When you say we, you mean Dolph?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
Probably you, everyone but me, because I will never DM a game. I decided that.
ooh, we can see things now.
There. It's it would have been smoother if I set up the lighting stuff, but I don't think I had time, so.
How dare you not doing all the things you have to do all the time, Dolph?
So it's nighttime. This was rendered for daytime, but use your imagination. It's
wow,
not
it's
this bright.
nighttime.
Yeah,
Really,
it's spooky
Asian
nighttime.
accent.
There's a little whistle. Yeah, so you kind of entered the town proper, as proper as it can be, being abandoned and all.
As we walking, and I'm like walking kind of more to the side of the road, can I quickly glance into a window inside of one of the abandoned houses?
As you do, Elantra and Yvette, you both, in very different ways, notice that something has activated.
Activated?
Yeah, tripped, you could say.
Scary word to use.
It
Yeah.
is scary hard to use.
Yvette, your like perception of it is it's like there was a little thin wire somewhere that snapped. Like you didn't feel it, but like you could hear it in a way that only someone with experience with trap finding and trap making and stuff would notice. And Elantra, you get a very similar sensation, but it is purely mental and magical.
Kobolds had some sort of bonus for trap shit,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't remember what it is.
Do I know the nature of this? Is this like alarm spell-esque or something like
Want
that?
to give me a spellcraft about it?
I might. I'm
Yeah.
so bad.
No, it's the alarm spell.
I've rolled a 4, a 6, and a 7. They've all been, rolls in the 20s, but still.
It's tough because that four were a 5.
You could. You have your bonus, right, from before.
Oh yeah.
+2?
But don't know if you want to use it.
Yes. The 22 or 24 does the trick, though. You recognize that feeling as the alarm spell.
They have a thing called crafty.
And there's nothing in there that I would know, like, I can't follow the alarm spell back to whoever casted it, can I? That seems like
You would have needed to be there at the time that the spell was being cast.
Yeah.
and this is just the activation.
Okay. So I immediately cast message to everyone, and I'm just like, they know we're here. We've tripped the alarm.
So what do you all do?
What are those plants?
They're just like ferns or shrubs or whatever.
Just like casual background.
Yeah, local vegetation.
Is there any movement? And also, Dolph, what's up with these plants?
I can show you some more.
I think I would send another quick message to the group. Our element of surprise will dwindle quickly. Perhaps we should move fast.
Scatter.
Do we want to move together or do we want to split up?
I would feel safest if I were with other members of the party within 20 feet.
All right.
If speed becomes a concern, being near Elantra is to your benefit with the passenger shoes.
Do we just want to full send it and charge in?
Let's do it.
Just completely throwing off the shackles of stealth.
I mean, if they know we're here.
Sad, sneaky noises.
So, I mean, I'll leave it to you, Elantra, to read the alarm spell to know what it could possibly be informing them of.
Yeah,
You know, the limits of that.
Can we pinpoint like where the spell was casted on?
Yeah, I think the two of you kind of got the sense as you were crossing it, you know, that it was, at that point it was too late, but you knew kind of where the border of it was, and you just stripped it.
Could we still do like a sort of distraction, so if or when they check, it could let them think it was like a false alarm or like it was something like an animal or something triggered it?
If only we had a horse.
It also, the alarm spell alerts one person, then it would wake them from sleep. So they don't all know. One of them knows, and it's up to them to then raise that alarm. So we'll have a window where they know something happened, but they don't know where we are besides that we're within the radius of their alarm yet.
Is there a chance they would think the alarm is not an invasion necessarily? Like, if they didn't find us, it could have been tripped by something else? Or is alarm like specifically targeting adventurers, kind of?
A creature of tiny or larger size enters the warded area or touches it.
It was the house that did it too, right?
No, it was along the road.
Oh, it was literally just walking in. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Gabitha's instinct is then to get off the road, knowing that this is
Good
where
instinct.
where someone would be coming to check. So I would probably move towards the right with all the plants.
20-foot radius eminent. So unless they have multiple spellcasters casting them everywhere, then there's like a point here. I'm trying to ping on Roll20 or so that we entered that tripped it. It's a 20-foot area radius, which is the same as the wrap on my boots. So in theory, they'll know something's up, and they'll come to look here. If we very quickly circle somewhere else, potentially there's areas where there's not an alarm spell if we come in like between houses or something. Potentially. We don't know that though.
So basically just go off to the side and try to sneak in elsewhere?
That's option A. Option B is to just press on and start moving.
I mean, the first one isn't a bad idea. I mean, they might if they do know something's up, but doesn't necessarily know how many of us there are or
It's each time a creature enters the area. So if we all walk
okay.
in, they would get 6. They'd say 6 creatures just walked in.
But only the vet and Aloncha triggered it so far?
They're the only ones that noticed.
I think
Oh.
I triggered and Elantra noticed because it spells. That's what I
Yeah,
did too.
they noticed because of what they were paying attention for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's executive decision. We're gonna circle and come in from somewhere else nearby.
Do it.
So, let's do it.
Right or left? Most of the city's to our right. Let's go right.
The plan.
Yeah, you pretty quickly come upon Cliff to the left.
I mean,
Okay.
he's got climb.
Right.
I'm just going to start revealing shit over here.
Look at all those plants.
Yeah, something's up with those plants. For sure.
Look, I've seen Little Shop of Horrors. I do not underestimate plants.
Little shop.
It's one of my favorite movies ever.
So, are we? I guess we're investigating this building here.
Just going up to it for cover.
Yeah, I'm kind of just walking till the officers I cannot walk from cover to cover.
I'm just kind of
So we're
revealing
looking for the
stuff.
chapel.
Gonna
That much we
get
know.
there.
Are the houses inside empty?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. I want to know if there's people like within these windows or something that are noticing us or what.
Spooky mannequins.
Okay. Yeah, pause at this where roughly where people are right now. If you're like looking in buildings and things, we need to handle that. So yeah, you sneak past a couple of houses or house-like structures, and take looks inside, and they look to be empty. You know, there's like a couple of pieces of furniture, but there don't appear to be like personal belongings or like food stores, or certainly no people.
I was expecting to look in and there was just like zombies just standing still.
Are the doors? Are there doors or are they open? Doorways.
There's doors on the houses. There's like shutters on the windows, but things aren't like locked up tight.
Gabitha just goes into the one that's right next to her in a lush.
Sure.
And I just walk basically down the length of it. Is there anything that I see?
There's a table and 2 chairs in there. There's a little like stove, cold.
Okay.
Sort of long table that might have been a food prep area, but there's no appliances or not appliances, utensils or like pots or pans or anything.
I'm just quickly scanning the food prep surfaces to see if there's any like crumbs from past meals or ingredients out.
There's not going to be any crumbs. There is a little like mound of mold that's grown up around one side, like maybe a bit of food that had like been left there or had fallen behind somewhere or something and has started growing out. The rest of the surface is dusty at this point.
Okay. I leave.
Is anyone else poking around anywhere in particular or looking in a direction a particular direction?
Can I peek
I'm-
through a window to this little building?
Sure can. We'll say there's a window right out back where you're at right now. This does not look like a dwelling. Or at least there doesn't seem to be any sort of signs that there was furniture in here. Maybe it was a storehouse or something, but at this point, it is, there's like an empty sack or two, but it is otherwise an empty room, a single room.
Okay, that's all that's there.
Actually, I guess there's the front has like a counter, I guess, that's like built into the wall, and a big window, but it's shuttered.
Okay.
I'm keeping my eye on this open area with the pen. Looks like. And I guess I'm trying to look to see if anything looks like a chapel to me, from what I can see.
Yeah, this fenced-in area looks like it was probably used to grow crops, but it has not been planted in this past season. So it's got that sort of like little bits of returning wild growth, but it hasn't really been completely taken over by nature yet.
All the plants are outside.
Yeah, Dolph, can I make a knowledge nature check about these plants?
What would you like to know about them?
Are they extraplanar?
Nope.
Are they vertical reptiles?
They're definitely
vertical
not.
reptiles?
No, they're definitely not.
What's their alignment?
They're unaligned, unintelligent creatures.
Are you sure though?
Actually, they're not creatures. They're plants.
But also, plants can talk to each other to the roots.
Talk is
I
a
got
very
22,
generous
that
word
change
for what
your-
happens with plants.
If I got
I
a
mean,
22, does that
because
change your
you
team?
don't understand that talking doesn't mean that it's not talking. They're transmitting information, which is talking, okay?
That's not the same, but
It is the same.
okay.
You are a plant racist.
No, I just happen to think that language is incredibly complex, and it's a miracle of evolution that we're able to do it, and I don't think plants quite got there.
No, I think we didn't got to their level.
Who else?
Can Zell peek around this building and look at this building?
Yeah, you and Elish are kind of taking a similar angle on this here building. And you get a good enough view. It is... It is certainly taller and more grand than the rest of the structures. All these, I mean, all these other buildings are like one floor, no more than that. And this thing, while it may only be one floor, it has much higher ceilings than anything else. In fact, I guess I'll just give you the rest of the building for the most
Can you
part.
imagine the city that
Bam.
Beetlejuice happens on for some reason?
The movie Beetlejuice?
Like the
Yeah.
little toy city.
Yeah.
Oh. I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, the chapel for me, it's like where Lydia's house is, just at the top of the thing by itself for some reason.
Delph, before we move on, sorry, I should have asked, what was the moldy food?
You mean what was the food before it began to mold?
Doritos Dynamite.
That wouldn't mold.
It's probably some form of bread, or was.
I ate Doritos Dynamite for the first time, and I think they're bomb.
I've never even heard of them.
I don't think mold can even grow on those.
Probably not.
If they're like most Doritos, they're just like what? Corn, MSG, and salt
Coloring.
and oil.
So I was to say salt.
Oil,
Yeah, bro.
yeah.
It was a Doritos Dynamite Flaming Hot. It was amazing.
So that looks like the chapel then.
It looks chapel as fuck.
Everyone's attempting to be hidden in some way. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I get stealth checks?
Yes.
I am, because if the fight starts and I'm stealthed, I get at least my first round with my fucking bonuses.
Dear.
Where's my stealth?
Wait, where am I?
Would we
Go,
describe?
Aaron.
So this village is abandoned, right? So the wilderness has taken over.
It's recently
So-
abandoned.
So you would not categorize this as the wilderness.
Yeah,
No, I would
but
not.
I watched that one
The
that
moldy bread.
one show from History Channel from like 2004 or whatever about life after humans, and nature comes back pretty quick, Dolph. You'd be surprised.
Is
Yeah,
that with
my bad.
evolution stuff?
I vanish from reality.
Look at you.
I see that you nearly tripled my roll.
Completely.
What are you hiding behind it, Ivet?
Elantra.
Just like
this
a,
house?
You should,
if you're hiding behind that house, you've gone very far away from it to do so. Okay.
Or
'Cause you're
here?
like,
What do you think it's more actual? More
well, I mean,
feasible?
what direction are you hiding from? You know, that's the other question. If you're hiding from the east side, if that's where you think you're being watched from, or you're likely to be seen from, then where you were before makes perfect sense. But if, you know, that's what I'm trying to get is,
This is the chapel, right?
the
big one?
you know, it might be. It's the most chapel-looking building you've seen so far.
Yeah, so I would assume I was hiding from the chapel,
Okay.
It's giving Midwest
Like
princess
here.
vibes for sure.
like here. So I can, so I'm hiding from here with this house, and from this side with this house.
Okay.
And if I'm here, I'm covered at all the sides. Besides this one.
Okay.
Maybe
And Ellis, are you like pressed up against this building?
I think so. Unless there's
Okay.
like a barrel. Yeah.
I think a 12 is pretty not great stealth, so I'm kind of just crouched a little too far from the building to be inconspicuous.
Okay.
I'm clearly trying to hide, but I'm bad.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
be suspicious. Don't.
Just fully like a kid playing hide and seek for like the second time.
Well, better than that, but you're on the right track. I got a 12, not a 4.
Okay.
Well,
That's why I said the second time, not the first time.
Oh dear.
They've been found once and they've revised their strategy.
They're playing.
Perhaps maybe I took too long to get good at hide and seek as a kid.
Yeah, they're playing as a 12-year-old, not as a 4-year-old.
I was an only child, you see.
Okay.
Can we start fighting something already? I'm getting anxious.
Yeah, I've been like chewing on a pencil for so long.
just run into that building then, y'all.
So if you want to start a fight, you got options.
You have
Uh,
character agency.
Yeah, currently you
Yeah,
all
my
are
character
standing
agency
still
says I should
hiding.
be very careful.
Stealth is not the option if you want to fight.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me show you where you're going, Gamatha.
thank you. Do we know that's the chapel?
We don't know, but we're pretty sure.
By the
It looks
chapel-esque.
chapel-esque.
Unlike Chapel Roan.
I mean,
I wouldn't describe her as looking like a
Like a
religious
chapel.
structure, no.
Say most people don't.
she's
A
Yeah.
few people though.
Gabitha whispers to the rest of the group, Should we go in, boys? What do we think?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
All through the
Let's do it.
front?
Stack
Is
up
that
on the
too
door.
easy?
I guess we can just go.
I feel like the music like da 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 is playing.
After we've already triggered an alarm.
Da da
Someone
da.
rolls on the floor.
Fun fact
Da-da-da.
about that theme's in 5/4.
Da 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 da.
Zael, Elantra, Aram, Elish. Most of you. As you make this, sort of dart across the road up towards the chapel, you hear footsteps sort of hurrying down stairs.
How many?
Or rather, not stairs, a ladder.
Did we see a ladder in the scrying?
No.
Did the
from the belfry?
this? Oh,
I don't like
Yeah.
how you went. Oh, what do you mean? Oh,
As he's going, just kicking the door in.
I love that.
Okay.
oh, he's going down.
he's climbing down from the where the place they were watching us cross the street from because I got a 12 on my stealth.
Dun 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 dun.
So you kick the door in.
To stealth music, Dolph. We kicked the door into stealth music.
Okay.
Da da da.
Make sure you write in the stealth music.
Delph told me I couldn't summon dinosaurs. Sorry, that song was.
I've been asking for the longest time too. And
Wait,
just
for what?
doesn't for dinosaurs.
Oh, I mean, I'm not going to say that they suddenly exist. They simply don't exist.
Excuse me?
Dinosaurs don't exist in this specific
Okay,
world.
I really thought you meant you thought dinosaurs.
No,
Mankind was
no,
created
no.
by God
I was like-
10,000 years ago, and dinosaur bones
I
were
was
put
like,
here to
I think my
tempt us by
chili's
Satan.
burning.
And
Um,
and Anardine is flat.
so as I guess you've all identified the chapel. You've dashed across the road, having made the decision that you just need to act since the alarm was triggered. Pressing up against the chapel, Zell takes action and kicks in the door. At this moment, Elantra, you see a flash out of the corner of your eye above the doorway. Several others of you notice blood stains on the ground in front of the doorway. There is actually... Does anyone speak this language? You know it's bad when I'm saying that there's other languages happening.
Is
Always
it
bad.
infernal? Or deep speech or draconic? Or
it is
elven or
infernal.
Sylvan? I do speak the language.
You hear a very distorted in the way of it's a person's voice but run through almost like electrical guitar distortion. It's unnatural. Say in infernal, a word that translates to flow. And I need fortitude saves from everyone.
Guys, we
Good
just
hopes.
triggered a trap and then
What if
didn't
you
check for
didn't?
more traps.
From everyone?
Everyone.
Do
Is
they know
the-
I'm here?
I said everyone. I don't know.
Is Good Hope still in effect? The buff.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that right now.
I think you're gonna really be glad that you have it.
It's a +2, right?
Wait. Oh, did I double click? Okay, so I guess the first one then. That's good for me.
Yeah, you better hope it's the first one.
Where is it? I don't remember where is this thing. The thing to click. Oh,
Look under
I
your
found,
AC.
found it. Thank
Was
you.
that was that a language dependent effect?
No.
Okay.
It is a negative energy effect.
Is this a magic sleep effect?
It's not a sleep effect.
I've been turned into.
It is not a negative energy effect.
Or
Can I
a
go
death
home?
effect.
It's not a death effect.
You know what?
Enchantment?
What probably
Sonic?
is?
No
Well,
and
probably-
no.
Animal, vegetable, or mineral?
Or just naming
It's
everything.
probably a fear effect, and then that +2 is just nothing because I have a -2 already.
Is it bigger than a bread box?
Heavier than a pound of butter.
Okay, sorry. I'm just double checking. I didn't write down ahead of time what the save DC for this was, so I'm making sure I have it right.
Convenient.
Bit and rowboat.
Convenient.
I haven't looked
It's
at what
ac-
people's saves are, so it is convenient
It's
for me.
actually 16. Just beating the health roll. That's so convenient.
I have the +2.
Yeah,
Okay.
16.
The DC was 18.
Oof.
Convenient.
So that's a pass from Elantra, it's a pass from Elish, it's a fail from Zael, it's a pass from Aram, it's a pass from Gabitha with your +2, and it's a pass from Ivet with your +2. So Zael is the only one that fails, which
sense.
makes
It's
so
not
much
that
sense
door in,
since
bro.
Zael's
It
the one that
kinda
kicked the
makes
door in.
sense, Yeah.
As soon as you kick the door in and this horrid voice speaks out a word in a language that you do not understand but sounds undeniably sinister, you begin, Zell, to bleed uncontrollably and violently from your eyes, ears, nose, and mouth. You take 1d6 points of bleed damage, and you are sickened. And the bleeding does not stop. And that is where we're going to stop today.
No. Are you doing anything else today, buddy? Are you doing? There's no fucking TI. What do you mean? What do you mean? Stop today. What do you mean?
There is TI tomorrow. I have to be up at 4 a.m., bucko.
Well, sounds like a you problem.
Damn.
You said 1d6?
Yes.
Okay.
Could be worse.
Could be. There's a lot of
Could
red on
be
my-
worse.
on my- There's a lot
It,
of red
it
on my
could
sheet
be
now.
worse.
Look,
feel
I
like
didn't kick in
sickened
the
affects everything.
Yeah.
I'll say
that's rough.
it could be that lots of you failed to save. Genuinely, without that good hope, there'd be a lot more blood about.
Almost.
Dolph,
Classic support
we-
class,
we-
am I right? Saving the day.
We spent the whole time when I was leveling up talking about how weird and freak these niche spells were, and then you go and pick the one that makes you bleed from all the holes in your face.
That's very cool, though. Should I make an assumption for next session that we are in combat? Like, is that good?
I think it's a safe assumption that things are kicking off now.
No,
Awesome.
everything's pretty calm. Just no big deal. Just don't mind the blood from every orifice.
Maybe
This
it's
is
the
a
maybe
one-off.
it's the beer or whatever you're drinking. Like maybe it's just gotten to you, you know?
I have a
But-
question. Like we heard
Go
the
on.
sinister voice and shit. If we move past then playing on fucking audio CD, can we like do we recognize the voice?
Oh, you want to try and like reverse engineer the
Yeah.
voice to see if you can figure out who like cast the spell?
Who cast it? Yeah.
I love where your head's at. I do.
Thank you. He's been in the same place since I was born.
Horrible.
I want to let you try, but I don't. Maybe it's like a linguistics check or something.
Well, that's fucked.
I'll roll a linguistics.
Sure.
That prompts me.
Sure, use your tongue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I have to give it to you then. There's a certain individual who has a very specific way of speaking.
Yeah, the little shit.
Which tends to make certain sounds that are produced by closing the mouth come out a bit weird. And this comes through in the pronunciation of this infernal word.
Oh, so he's not the little shit.
You think it's pretty likely that this trap was put in place by Callum Crane.
Oh, it is the little shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think Elantra, like that registers the Elantra, and they just like spit on the ground next to them and like roll their head around. And then it's like orb, spell tome in hand, like, here we go. I think any of you who are on the mausoleum adventure recognize the same look as that sort of final confrontation at the mausoleum when Elantra and Krakus followed them into the portal. It's that same look again. Of like you who would dare not only to try to break the world, but to break it with the most distasteful of magics.
Yes, your friend and mine, the pale, bald necromancer that we all know and love, is making Zell bleed uncontrollably from like all of his holes.
I'm fine.
All of them?
Well, I mean, you can see the ones on his head bleeding so far.
Can we see on his pants that it's bleeding from all his walls?
There's a lot of armor to get through. We might do well.
Is Zahel conscious? I know we're ending, but like, would that not like immediately take you out?
No, I think
yeah, he's still conscious.
If it's spell like, it's more like a torture than an actual like.
He's only taken 3 damage, but there's no sign that this bleeding is going to stop. Is the problem?
Blood back in my body, no big deal.
Is this affecting any of Zahel's senses?
He's sickened. He has the sickened condition.
Pretty much everything on my sheet is red now.
Yeah, so. Sickened is bad. Let me get you the full list. -2 penalty on attack rolls, weapon damage rolls, saving throws, skill checks, and ability checks. That's everything that you roll a dice for, pretty much. But it's only -2. He's only taking 1d6 points of damage per round. Just roll with it, man.
You're using the words only.
I mean, if it's Elantra, it's like a third of their HP every round.
Well, I guess it's good that it's not Elantra then.
Yeah, like it's our tank, the face tank to that. So I guess it could be worse.
Is Good Hope continuous or is it a one-time thing?
One time.
It lasted for a... Wait, it's not every check for the next 2 minutes, it's the next check?
I thought it's just one.
I thought it's because it has duration.
Oh no, it's all checks for until the duration.
Damn.
I think I'll give you 1 minute left on it.
Well, good news, we're about to enter combat. In which 1 minute is a long time.
I was hoping it was the fucking dude that we took the hand off, because I was about to throw the hand in.
Just throw it into a window.
Yeah.
With like a grenade.
Yeah, just like, hey buddy, I have something of yours. Maybe it throws them off the rhythm.
Like freaking Lethal Weapon vibes.
But yeah, thanks for playing, everyone. It's good to be back.
Yeah,
Great to be back.
Good.
It is good to be back. I kind of hate you right now, but it is good to be back.
What can I say? I love a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a pretty
it's just
good one.
really nice not to be the one hit with the awful spell for once.